I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Sir, you here for public comments?
Yes.
Come on up. So you want to state your name?
My name is Ron Young. Margie Stewart and I own a place down in southeastern Geary County in Wingfield Township.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank you. It's good to see you. We haven't met.
My name's
before.
Trish Giordano, Alex
Alex
Tyson.
Tyson.
And Keith is the representative, our commissioner.
Okay.
If you could just bear with me, I just have a statement to make, and then I've been following the discussions around budget and expenditures in Geary County lately with some increasing concern. It's been my experience that when specific questions about how tax money is being spent are met with huffiness, defensiveness, and accusations against the questioner, something's wrong. A commissioner has every right, indeed has an obligation, to ask such questions. Evasiveness and hostility to questions intended to fulfill the public's need for financial transparency come across to a person such as myself as suspicious, or to use a more technical term, fishy. In 2010, I retired as a Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Department of Health in Louisiana Department of Health. Shortly before I left, I pointed out to the directors of a financial management section that their antiquated software made it impossible for them to implement proper controls regarding the Medicaid provider fee program that collected millions of dollars a year in checks and cash. Their response was that, well, they knew the software was limited, but the vendor had political connections, and attempts to make changes would result in a political firestorm that could possibly cost them their jobs. It's not unusual in Louisiana. Besides, they had everything under control, and they had a complete approval from their executive management. And since their division was not within my supervisory purview, they just went on their way and continued their practices. But not 3 years after I retired, I read that a clerk in that section had stolen over $1 million from the provider fee program, exploiting some of the very control gaps that I specifically pointed out to them. The managers and the fellow employees of the clerk were shocked, as no one could imagine that such a wonderful person or colleague would do such a thing. The employee was subsequently convicted and spent time in prison. Now, Kansas, of course, is not immune from the phenomenon of disappearing public money. In Dickinson County, the sheriff's office, $72,000 has reportedly disappeared into the pockets of we don't know who, while the KBI investigation appears thwarted by threats of reprisal, according to news reports. St. Francis Ministries disappeared possibly hundreds of thousands or more of tax dollars after its board simply trusted the executive director, and the state appeared to apply virtually no effective financial controls. I mean, so far, I don't know if any of the tax dollars have been recovered so far there. So therefore, I encourage the commission, please, to continue to emphasize adherence to sound financial controls in all the agencies. And I think the commissioners should routinely expect immediate, detailed replies to their questions and not rely on promises from officials whose behaviors come across as fishy. Selectively chosen reports from those same officials do not substitute for the submission of unedited, verifiable financial reports when requested. Continued resistance, to me, any continued resistance should routinely trigger a serious financial audit of the recalcitrant agency. Now, I applaud you all when you ask straightforward, detailed questions about public finance, and I urge you, please don't back down. Or one day you may be facing the reality of $1 million theft perpetrated by an oh so angelic agency employee who no one would ever believe could possibly do such a thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your work.
Thank you.
You gotta speak up.
Oh, I do. I was just gonna ask if you would like to start with the review and updates.
Keith, you wanna go first? I usually.
No, yeah, I had the opportunity to meet with Crystal last week. And I noticed you got on here county counselor, contract discussion, so I think talking to her, she would like to discuss that during her session and have an executive session for that.
I don't think it needs to be an executive session.
According to her, she.
As far as, it is it is not an executive session, because I've checked on that. We're talking about whether we're gonna have.
Yes, okay, either way, then she has some thoughts.
Okay, well, we can meet with her when she comes in here, but, as far as the county counselor's position, back in 2017, when Commissioner Hicks, Commissioner Bennett, and, Commissioner Whitebread were here, it was the last day of, the elected officials, term. And they decided that day, after all of the budget hearing, all of our budgets for 2017 had been done, to create a county counselor department. And not only did they create a county counselor's department with a full-time county counselor and a secretary, they also added a deputy county counselor, making $43,000 a year. So we went from a part-time county counselor for many, many, many years to a full-time county counselor with a full-time secretary. And then because it was not sure whether Mr. Graham was gonna have a job or not, they offered him an assistant county counselor. So we had 3 full-time people with benefits when we were doing that just by contract. No other county that I could find our size has a full-time county counselor. Lyon County, Harvey County, Kelly County are all either contract or in the county attorney's office. I don't feel it should be in the county attorney's office because of some conflicts, but because we have K-Camp, which is an insurance carrier, they can also provide legal services as well. So even if it's part-time in the county attorney's office, I feel we have obligations that could be, if there's a conflict, to be able, we have options as far as with K-Camp provider.
Okay,
So I feel the money that is spent going back to contract county counselor can be used towards the financial coordinator. And I just feel that that's the savings that we can make. Like I said, no other county our size has a full-time county counselor and staff.
well, I think we need to visit with Crystal
Okay,
when she comes in.
okay.
Um,
Because we need to decide whether we're gonna, because I really would like to get the person.
Time is never yes.
It is, because I'd like them to have some time with Mr. Opat. He's extremely knowledgeable. And I'd like them to work together for a little while so they know what they're getting into. But the decision we need to make is whether it's gonna be part-time or full-time.
So I think she can shed some light on it.
Okay. That's fine.
Because I think at this point, you need to trust, I mean, we hired her to trust her on some of her expertise. And I don't know exactly what she will tell us, but she said, I want to visit with you about that.
Okay, and that's fine. And then we also need to, next week, I'm gonna ask for a update on the EOC. There's been some changes to the plans and they were not approved by us. And we need to decide on what we're doing with building security.
That, you know,
Because,
oh, in regards to that, so I've been digging. I don't know whether you guys, this is from 2020. Sorry, I'm not speaking loud enough. 2020 projects. That is and it might be outdated, but,
thank you.
that includes capital outlay and, PPC. So that should give you some idea as of that time period, and I don't know what the date was, but a lot of that has already, I mean, if you look down from capital outlay, there's a difference, and maybe Teresa could explain it better. So there's a certain balance in the capital outlay, but we only have a certain amount of spending, I think, correct? So that's why you've got two different figures at the top. Then you got, these other projects have already been completed. So it leaves.
The courthouse renovation has not been completed.
No, I'm talking about capital outlay.
Oh, okay.
You're jumping ahead. So capital outlay, you have a balance of 143,613. Now, I don't know where we're at today, Teresa, but that's strictly capital outlay. Then you move down, yes. Then you gotta look at your courthouse renovation and your EOC. So then you still, when you get into the PBC depreciation replacement fund, you can see those were prices that we assumed we were gonna follow through on. The firearms have been taken care of at the Pinell Building. We're on the hook for Dean Architects. Then you got courthouse renovation and Schultz Construction. If you notice, you'll have 64,000. We've got to make, no matter what, we have got to get the shelving ordered. And so from that 64,000, based off of the price that we've got for shelving, including the clerk now, we need to move on that or we're gonna miss out.
True.
Because the Department of Labor has already said that our shelving.
I agree, we need new
Thanks.
shelving. I think we need to, I know we voted a couple weeks ago to, go ahead with the architect design for, the courthouse or the county building security, and I think we need to stop that. I think we need to put a hold on that for right now. We don't even have enough money to do anything, with this Schultz construction. But right now, the courthouse renovation is the priority. But then we also have the hospital, who we can use some of this money for, that needs a new generator. And, you know, I just have a hard time with when the hospital is begging for money because they need a new roof and the building's falling apart, that the commission decided to redo a lease that actually the bond had 3 years prior had been done, and this money was just sitting there, and so they transferred all the money to depreciation and replacement fund, which was created under supplemental lease and can only be used for replacement of equipment and materials in the courthouse, the Pinell Building, and the office building. When we were told by the bond attorney that some of that could have been used for the hospital. So I'm sorry if I just assumed that this was done purposely to not let us help the hospital.
It was not,
Well, it looks like it to me.
no.
Because it could have been.
He'll tell you that.
It could have been
simplest,
done,
Easiest way.
and it
and
could
if
have,
that-
we could have used some of it for the hospital, and it was decided not to do it at that time.
Right, because,
So now some of this can be used. So I feel that
well, how
the-
do we know that?
the
Because we don't know. Yes, technically it could.
it can
We're
be.
talking
I've asked him
on-
4 times, and he said, yes, we can use some of it.
You said 3, but anyway.
Well, 3 times with you, or the 4th time was with you.
So anyway, talking to bond counsel, and I've contacted him and he said, yes, technically, but it's very complicated when you do that.
Yeah, you have to redo a new lease with the
Well,
PDC, so it can be done.
It ain't as simple as that. And so therefore, he suggests he's still waiting on the hospital to give him answers on the options for the refinancing of the bonds.
This is totally different than the refinance of the bonds. We have
Yeah,
$1
but they
million
gotta make a
in.
decision one way or the other right off the get-go.
Well, they need right now, they need a new generator.
Well, But
And,
they-
and
they
I
only
think
got
it's
till August
more
to hurry up.
important to do this, to this, because the EOC is too big. We can cut that down. If we are gonna grow as a county, we need to think forward to take up the whole entire basement almost with between storage and the EOC. What if we need new offices here? What if we need to add offices? We're gonna take, why can't we do both? We can do an EOC and use offices to where they can be for both. They can be meeting rooms for the, because it's gonna cost over $500,000 to move that, the dispatch center from, and who's gonna pay for that?
Well, I saw an email from Gary.
Yeah, who's gonna pay for it?
Well, I don't know.
Exactly. Why are we
Gotta-
moving on why did we sign a contract before we knew exactly what the whole entire project was gonna cost?
Basically, we were under the gun at that point, and it's a good thing we did because of the construction costs.
Well, I think that security is more important than the EOC.
Well, I guarantee you that courthouse has to be taken care of.
And what about,
And if you're talking about security, that has nothing to do with the generator over at the hospital. It has nothing to do with capital outlay or facilities at the hospital. You just said, you wanted security.
no, I didn't say I wanted
Yeah,
security.
you just did.
I said, what about the security? We've already agreed to pay to have that done, and there's no money in it to get that project done.
What project?
The project to have
Secure
security
this
here.
building?
Yes,
Well, that's why I gave you this, because you can use the 143,000 in capital outlay to pay for security in this building.
How much is shelving?
19, I think. is-
yeah, I thought it was almost 20.
I'm just put 20. I mean, we gotta figure out, we have to make a decision on this stuff. We can't continue to drag.
Yeah, I
And then
And I
about
agree
the,
with Keith on the side of the hospital, that they have
Yeah.
have to figure that, they have to figure out if they're gonna refinance those bonds or not. Because that can save them some money as well, so.
basically, it's not saving them money, it's just adding to the end of the loan.
Yeah, but get some money up
Yeah,
front.
I agree, but I
No
mean, it's
different
not
than-
saving them money.
Yeah,
No different than the no fund
Give-
warrants that they wanted us to approve.
Yes.
It got them.
As
money
of
up
today, the county has done nothing extra to help the hospital. You've
Wow.
issued them no funds warrants, then that's it, but you've not, I was talking to 2 commissioners that have
front.
hospitals.
Because we gave them spark money too.
You gave them spark money because they were entitled to the spark money. We have not done anything as a county to do
We
anything
didn't give them
extra.
anything.
Well, you had to. It was, I mean, it's not like,
Have to do
yes, you
anything.
did. Yes, you did. They were required to have that money. If we didn't give our hospital money, that I think that would have, we did nothing extra as a county.
We haven't even gotten to the recovery money yet.
I
And there's
understand
money
that.
available there probably for the hospital.
Okay, well, let's,
So I think you're getting the cart in front of the horse here on the PVC part of it.
okay,
I think we need to research this, but I agree with Mr. Tyson. We've got to get to the bottom of the security issue in this
we
building.
do.
We've already, I think, come to a consensus that we're gonna take care of Pennell first, then we're gonna work over here. Am I right?
well, we.
But what I'd like to
decided-
do is if we're gonna make any changes, because you guys instructed the sheriff to hire 4 deputies last year.
Mhm.
Okay, well, nobody asked how much that was gonna change his budget for this year, so now we're stuck with that.
Well, we
And
were
so-
told that couldn't be done until 2022, but he ramped it up. And he
No,
said he had enough.
he said he had it in his budget for this year. He didn't say anything about 2022.
Right,
But you didn't even
originally-
ask how much it was gonna add to his budget to see how many meals we would have to provide for him extra, which is something that we should be doing when we're hiring people, we're giving them raises. We should see what it's gonna do to the budget. And so now we have 4 extra people and 2 places to put them. And so I feel I do not feel we should close this this door where people cannot use it. We know that's already an issue. So I feel we need to stop with the security here right now, reevaluate on how we can make the treasurer's office more secure to where they feel comfortable. Because I think us having to have somebody, there's lines out there now and there's nobody,
Well, part of
nobody
that-
standing there.
Well,
And,
I
and,
talked with Kathy.
and the,
last week,
okay,
And I think her input is good, needed when we talk about securing that. With the ARP funds, we can probably even help as far as getting some extra work in there. That way we're killing the line situation out here. She talked about another piece of equipment where, constituents can go online and basically get a time to come in.
that's all.
That way they're not staying in line. So, that's upgrading the system, which would fall in line with some of the things that we talked about using the ARP
Okay.
monies for. So, again,
I think
we have,
need to talk to
like,
Kathy.
Kathy, these are, I mean, we listened to her when she was worried about the storage. We need to have her here as well to have that conversation. We already put the money towards getting a daggone, architect to do this.
Yeah,
So
we need to stop.
We gotta,
I think that needs to be on hold until we reevaluate that, because we're not gonna have the personnel to put over here.
Let's get Kathy in here for the next meeting.
Okay,
yeah. At the end of the day, we're dragging our feet. I'm sorry. We're dragging our feet on.
well, I've asked you guys for the last.
Kathy needs,
You asking, yeah, but I mean, I'm not gonna make a decision when I don't have all the information with
Exactly, I
the
agree.
EOC downstairs.
I agree.
I'm sorry.
I think that EOC needs to be put on hold because there are so many more things that we need before that.
And what do we look like? I mean, if that's even, we're saying put it on hold, or the contract is signed.
Yeah.
Where do we go? What's the options if we're putting that on hold? What's this Deem Architects? What's this for? I mean, I'm just looking at
that's
this.
courthouse and EOC.
And we know the courthouse needs to happen. Right? I think everybody's on,
Yeah.
yeah, that's happening. So when we talk
And,
about.
and it might be a lot more than that right now.
West entrance is falling.
And when we talk about the
No, I-
Pinell building,
Well, it's a security issue too.
have we talked with Krista and them about what all she's able to do with some of her funding to help?
She's
with
able
that-
to do it there.
To help with that project. So it's a lot of moving parts.
Sure it is.
I mean, we're just the three of us. We can sit here and go back and forth
Yeah,
about what's
we
going
just
on, but we don't have the
decision.
sheriff in here, we don't have Kathy in here, we don't have Krista in here. And I think it affects all the employees that's under them. And also the sheriff's decision.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget the clerk's office, back to Trish's point, and it's a good point, with this door over here with voters, you know.
And we'll have
gotta
voters standing
gotta
out
have
line
traffic
in the
flow.
heat and the cold, and
But
it's not.
we also need to keep in mind, yeah, we wanna keep the treasurer's office secure. You kinda wanna keep the clerk's office secure. Treasurer's, not treasurer, appraiser's already security, it's a little bit to that point. But you talk about it being a hindrance to people coming in to pay their taxes or buy their tags or whatever. But at the same time, it's no different than COVID. Yeah, masks were uncomfortable, but you got people in here that feel safer knowing that everybody's wearing a mask. So some of them people are gonna feel safer knowing there's security in this building. The average citizen, knowing that they're safe.
Can we afford it?
Well, I just pointed out, I don't know about the personnel part.
That's
but
the
you
part I'm
can-
talking about.
you can-
As
you
far
can
as building
afford
stuff,
the-
we can build stuff to make them feel safe.
The other,
You can build something to make them feel safe.
well, that's where Alex is right, we need to talk to Kathy, because we got the capital outlay.
And if the clerk's office wants to do something, I mean, I am all for people being safe at their house, if their place of employment, but we also need to be
You gotta
mindful.
think of your citizens.
Yes. I mean, that's $200,000.
I mean, let me ask you this, let me put it in a different way. Do you feel comfortable flying these days on commercial?
As far as,
Well, I mean, it's an inconvenience to go through all the security, but don't you, once you get through it, you feel better. That's kind of similar.
yeah, but I'm not standing outside in the heat and the rain.
Well,
in the
we
cold.
put in a deal for the awnings out there.
Well, you're still outside in the cold and the rain and in the heat.
Well, but then back to what Alex is talking about, maybe we can do this sign up for something.
It shouldn't be like, that's something we got to seriously look at.
Yeah, I think so. I
Because
think that is
it is,
huge.
I think that, I mean, as we're talking about security, that's gonna kill half, I mean, that's gonna kill half the time that people have, coming in here. I'd much rather get online, find a time and
Mhm.
know that, hey, I can leave my job at this specific time because I have an
Exactly.
appointment. So when we talk about security, that's gonna kill down the need
And some
to have
people,
somebody. So does that turn into having an officer do a walkthrough or hanging out here for about an hour and taking off? I mean, it's,
sometimes people just see that, oh, there's no cars out in the street.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
these-
stop by and pay my taxes now.
and if they can get in that way, that's an opportunity for them, but I think as we're looking at
let's
this,
get
we have to
Kathy.
have all the players in the room.
I agree.
Because as we're sitting
Well,
here
that's what
talking
I'm
about
trying
it,
to, that's why I kept bringing it up.
well,
Because we have so much more to talk about than just say, okay, let's do that.
that's something we probably could have had on the agenda today.
Well, I was thinking about it next week because I think that's when Gary comes in to talk.
Yeah, no, I mean, we gotta have all the players in the room. And this goes all the way back to the first time with the EOC. We're not here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to know what's being stored down there to say, hey, we're gonna kill half this building off, And so as we're talking about growing and bringing more jobs here and reevaluating salaries and trying to get people to work, I do have a concern for space. So,
I agree.
I mean, like I said,
There's
we got.
storage though, right? So, I mean, not just storage,
No,
we have to put more.
space, I mean,
space.
we're, if we, let's say we boom, our county starts to grow.
I hope so.
Where are we gonna put people?
Yeah, we're pretty
And so,
close.
I know, that's why I don't want to use the whole
So-
entire basement
So-
without it being multi-purpose.
and I, as I said in the middle, I see both arguments, and I agree with both of you guys but we cannot make this decision without the day-to-day decision makers in the room.
The people that work here, but
Yeah, this is their workspace that we're talking about.
I agree.
And I mean, somebody come to my job telling me how I need to do stuff and you're there for a day, I'm gonna flick my thumb at you. But no, I think we need to get down the schedule, have everybody in here and hash it out and figure out what we're gonna do.
yeah, we can't kick this can down.
I mean, the security is,
No, that's why, yeah, and that's what I just said. What are we, I mean, when I wrote my notes for today, I just said, building security and EOC, what are we doing?
I would love to secure that entire office and have a person placed there to let the next person in.
All
But
right, so we're all in agreement that we're gonna get the people in here next week and figure out what's going on. Okay,
too easy.
too easy.
Other than that, I think the only update I had was there was no meetings for me. I did get a lot of phone calls from different entities from our discussion about the CVB. And I would, again, on record, again, tell you guys that it should, we're asking them to work with the EDC and the MEC and the chamber. But it needs to turn from ask to they will do this. And that's where I'm at with it. We can go back and forth around the room about what was done in the past and who said what. And we've talked many a times about this. I'm not gonna do the high school ring around the rosy deal with with any of them. That needs to, at the end of the day, we're funding three of the sources that we're talking about. We're literally taking taxpayer dollars and funding, well, yeah, and funding to the,
Local tax.
yeah, and we're funding it. We're funding to those entities.
That's funny you say that, because a long time ago, it was like, do you just put everybody in a room and let them lay down the law?
It's to the point where and I don't care, if nobody wants to work together, we need to look in a different direction at all spots. Not just here. Is this something we need to fund if they don't want to work with Michelle? And vice versa, is this an employee we want to have if she doesn't want to work with them? Because at the end of the day, we're not hurting, we're gonna be okay. It's our taxpayers and citizens of Erie County, Junction City, you can go to Milton, we can talk about everybody, townships and everybody that's hurting. And I'm just frustrated because as I continue to travel around, and I said this past weekend, asking all these different people from Chicago, talking about they love Kansas. They love that they were here 3 days. And I'm talking about Junction, our little town, and how amazing it is to live there, and the military, and they're like, oh man, we wish we had something like that around our neighborhood. And it just got me to thinking, like, we're missing the mark, man. We're missing an opportunity. And I hate for us to continue to miss out on the boat on this, so. I said my piece again with that. Other than that, I think we really need to continue to stay on the ARP subject. We gotta figure out who's gonna be on, or if Commissioner Schultz if he's on that specific deal or account, or if it's the same way we gotta go about Sparks funds. I don't know who was on that. You know how to say you gotta.
We have to apply for it.
Okay, so it's not, but I'm saying, is it the same way they applied during the Spark Fund time?
No,
Okay,
no.
so,
No, it's
We gotta pass
more
a
relaxed.
resolution.
all right,
Yes,
so,
we gotta pass a resolution, it's
I
much
think
more
we probably
relaxed.
Yeah,
so O'Brien, because we had asked them previously for this next round, whether that's just.
And I think the city might be just doing theirs themselves, since it's pretty cut and dry what you can and can't use it for, and, so.
okay. So, yeah, we gotta stay on, I think we need to discuss that furthermore and figure out where we want. Hello, Rebecca, I'm done.
Okay, all right, you're done. Rebecca, you're up.
All right, I have commission change orders and they were all emailed out to you. Not exactly divided in thirds because I was trying to keep groups together because some of them are the same people.
Yes, Miss Stan.
We need you to stay in the camera's like going all over.
Oh, sorry.
Fine.
I don't know how I'm gonna hand things out if I have to stand.
Oh, you're okay. I'm just kidding.
I know, I was trying to figure out how to get through there and not trip.
The course is long enough.
Go either way.
I don't know how you can stamp so pretty. I'm scared I'd be off the line.
I know.
What did you say?
So I don't know how you can stamp so perfect. I'd be scared that I was off the line.
Practice. I've gotten on the wrong line. I've done it upside down.
This has done it all.
Second motion that we post.
I make a motion to approve change orders.
I second.
All in favor?
Number is.
There's a bunch of them.
I put it in the minutes already.
Okay. All in favor, aye,
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
When I did the show this morning, I had these in front of me, so I did it all at the same time.
You're welcome.
The next thing I wanted to talk to you about is the chamber annual dinner. If you haven't seen, it is on July the 1st with the reception at 6 and dinners at 6:45. And it's at the convention center. And some years, everyone's done their own thing. Other years, the county commission has bought a table and then they've invited department heads or other people to attend. So I just want to see if you guys have any thoughts about that, if you have any directions
What date?
for me. It is July the 1st. And tickets need to be purchased by June 18th. So you don't have to decide today, but sometimes all I've done is RSVP for the county commission and sometimes spouses, significant others. So I don't know if you have thoughts about that, but something you want to think about, give me some directions for the future.
Well, I know we get 2 free tickets, so.
What's the table cost?
Well, I don't have it. I don't see a table. The tickets are $60 each, but I don't see anything about a table price. Then this is just from their, just being on their list. So you guys have probably seen that too.
I don't know, all that stuff's, and I keep forgetting to look at junk mail.
Yeah, I don't know why it still goes to our junk mail.
I think I changed mine.
Well, I don't know why it
did
started
it,
doing
it
that,
moved
but
to inbox
yeah.
and it's still,
Did you do I can't think what the option is without looking at it, where you can check a box that it's always safe or whatever. You did that,
I
it's
got
still
that
happening?
email.
does it still go to your junk mail?
The last junk mail email I got was from, I just looked on here,
Yeah, I didn't.
Chief Johnson.
The email.
Oh,
part
don't
is-
open that one, that one's, that's,
It's a bad.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
Well,
You guys can
yeah.
think about it, but like I said, we have until June 18th to purchase the tickets, so you can let me know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, then I have a draft of the budget work session agenda for Thursday. It's Thursday, which is June 3rd. And I've already scheduled another appointment since I got this ready for you. So you'll actually have Three Rivers, and was scheduled before, and then she had to cancel because of the family emergency. So Three Rivers will follow Chuck Audie.
Okay.
And I've sent you all of these by email, all of their budget packets. And then the staff will get those photocopied over today and tomorrow, and I'll get your notebooks when we're done at the end of the day so they can put it in your notebooks for Thursday. So I suspect it'll probably be done at 4:30 unless I hear from somebody else. That I've got a couple of people I'm waiting to hear on that just need a 15-minute appointment, so we'll see if we add anybody else between now and then. And then several weeks ago, we talked about budget goals, and so I've done what I think you've asked me to do, but you can look that over, and again, I'm not necessarily asking for any kind of decision, and you don't have to do any kind of formal motion about it unless you want to, but I did change the wording on number 3 to implement Senate Bill 14 revenue neutral, and I just put to the best of our ability because I don't know what that's going to really look like, if that's really going to be possible. And On number 6, you asked me to, well, we took out the stuff about the tax lid since it's gone, and I have use of American Recovery Funds over the next 2 years, and everything else we had left the same. So I think this does what you had asked me to do, but certainly, we can certainly make adjustments to it.
I think that compensation piece, someone want to talk to Crystal about.
Oh, number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, Teresa and Tiffany and I met with her second day on the job just to talk about the interrelationship between the 2 offices and how we've been doing things, and some things that we were hoping that maybe we could change. And there were a couple of things that she wanted to talk about changing. So some of that stuff, we're in the process of doing.
Okay.
But I did tell her that I had talked to you guys about maybe considering trying to put money into next year's budget for compensation salary, just because of what we've seen in just my small department over the past few weeks about those pay issues. So I don't know if she'll bring it up to you, but if you bring it up to her, she knows I've encouraged you to think about that if we can find it. And I think she talked about some people, some firms or whatever that they had used when she was in Potawatomi County that were different than what we've ever used here before. So, that's a good thing probably.
That,
to have.
that does the salary reviews.
Mhm. So, they had some different philosophies, which I thought that stuff's always good to look at.
Oh, yeah.
So that's all I have, unless you have things for me.
When did you say we were gonna get the valuations so we can start the revenue neutral, looking at that?
We'll start getting them this week.
Okay.
So we have to get, well, Teresa wasn't here on Friday. I think that on Friday Travis certified personal, but I think there's still something else we might be waiting on them for, maybe not. And then we have state assessed to get, which typically comes student first. Typically we get it on the 1st, and then we have to put all this stuff together. So we have to be done by June 15th. So
Are you guys
we'll have it done for you by then, maybe sooner.
around the state? Are evaluations changing?
I haven't heard a word. And for most counties, they're not gonna get everything they need until today.
Okay.
And then it just takes a little bit to get everything into the computer and get everything balanced, and so we can start to put it together for you. So. Okay, thank you.
What do you do? Learning.
Well, it was crazy, like, we did
Guys
it.
ready? We're ready.
Determine capital improvement needs. People aren't even putting their wants down. Like, we've had 2,
New for them, and we just need to get that.
hey, they'll be mad when they don't get what
Welcome.
they.
You are your first official.
I'm not being introduced today. I'm actually representing myself as the HR director today. So, first, I wanted to say, unless you guys foresee a reason for it, I don't see a reason for me to be on the agenda every week.
Okay.
I would like to, have a space on the agenda the first Monday of every month. My intent is to do a recruitment update at that time. So update you over the last month on positions that have been filled, positions that have opened up, and where we're at in the recruitment process for each department. To give you an update, so you don't, somebody goes, well, why has this position been open for 6 months? Maybe I can help explain that a little bit.
Sure.
And then if something else comes up during the month, then I will ask to be put on the agenda. Or if something comes up that you want to speak with me, you can ask me to be put on the agenda, if that's all right with you guys. I just cannot see something every week happening that I would need to come speak with you. At least I hope not.
Yeah, I was gonna say, sometimes that's probably not good.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's fine.
Second, I need your signature on this personal action notice. It's just to put Tiffany back in her position out of the acting status. And then I had a couple questions. I wasn't sure where to get the answers from, so I figured I would just bring it up today. Because I know it varies from agency to agency, but if we have employees that have contracts,
Okay.
do we have any? And if so, how do I get a copy of those contracts? Okay.
I was gonna say,
I look right at Teresa.
yeah, that's who I looked at too.
I'm just thinking, the only ones I think, I don't know if they're even called ours, is the indigent defense attorneys.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then, does the county appraiser have one or the
Which
health
do you have those
director?
contracts?
The indigent ones.
The
yeah.
county appraiser does, I don't know if we have one for Tammy or not. I'll have to.
Well, now, wait a minute.
I thought everybody was appointed isn't it like an appointment every
I
year?
think the appraiser has to have a contract as per state statute, if I
Yeah,
understand
Every
correctly.
4 years.
Yeah, and we just signed his,
Okay.
just like 2 weeks
But I
ago.
didn't, but I know that sometimes some agencies voluntarily have some contracts with some of their employees, so I just didn't know if there were others that I should be aware of.
And if you need the indigent contracts,
I-
Lisa would have them.
I've got a flash drive
Oh,
that
okay.
says 2021 indigent on there, so I'm imagining it's on there, I hope. That was one of the things that was given to me.
I can't think of, I mean, because you're not talking about mowing contracts.
No,
or snow
just
removal.
Anybody that's like paid through payroll or has benefit
Yeah, I
that may
don't-
have an employment
Yeah, so
contract.
the indigent people don't have
Okay.
benefits, they're just contract.
And then the other one was on the cleaning crew. I imagine that we have a contract with them. Since I know that, and I'm sure we do, but I just want to verify, since they go into my office after hours when I'm not there, have they signed a non-disclosure agreement or whatever that says basically that information is confidential, stays confidential or whatever?
Yeah, Corey handles all that and they have
Okay.
to sign. He has them do something that says they're bonded, they can't, whatever you say.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, just covering my bases, make sure, because I don't lock anything in my office when I'm not there. I mean, the door to the HR is
And
locked,
just so you
but
know, there's like, what, 3 of them? There's, DNR, Service Master, and Lady Price.
okay.
Yeah, but only one, doesn't just one,
Oh, just one
Yeah,
here, but
yeah.
I'm talking about with other county
Okay,
facilities.
yeah, I just want, like I said, I just wanted to make sure. And then I wanted to clarify on something that we discussed last week. You had mentioned that there had been somebody that had been terminated and then rehired at a different department, and you wanted to be notified about that. At least that's the way I understand it.
yeah, just because I
There-
don't want other departments stealing from.
Oh, that's right, it wasn't a terminated person,
It
they
was, she
just,
quit and then she later got hired, and I don't know if that was,
I don't know, my concern wasn't about it stealing, was the reason why she left was for reasons, for childcare reasons, and I could have sworn, and I remember talking to them bringing up if she could possibly work from home and what that looked like. And that was a no-go for that option, but then to turn around, and leave and
then
get your way on this side of the table.
What's kosher on that? I mean,
my advice, and my recommendation, that if anyone is allowed to work from home, it should be, an extenuating circumstance and for a very limited period of time. Otherwise, you're looking at setting a precedence for others to be able to do so. And if it becomes something that they do regularly, you'd be hard pressed to say, okay, we need them here at the office. I mean, if they've been able to do it for 12 weeks, 16 weeks, whatever. So if you need somebody in the office, you need somebody in the office. If something comes up, somebody breaks their leg and they can't drive themselves to or from work, but they have work you need them to get done, all right, for the 6 weeks you're in a cast, we will allow you to work from home on this limited basis. But you've got things to look at such as workers' compensation, accessibility, accommodations, et cetera. So those are extenuating circumstances that I think would be okay to allow that. But very rare, because if you allow one person to do it in this department, but you don't allow somebody else to do it in this department, there may be very good reasons why. If you can document those, great, but otherwise you're setting yourself up for potential discrimination claims, or not accommodating based on this, but you will accommodate on that. There's lots of things to look at. So if somebody can work, I recommend they work.
so case in point, let's just say somebody, because we've had this in the past. They just didn't fit in that department, and to accommodate them, HR had an opening in another department and they moved over there. That's okay, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely okay.
I mean,
If
I'm
it's-
talking working full-time, no working from home stuff. It's just
Right, if there's
So it's kind of a
somebody that
mutual
just
deal.
does not fit in one department for whatever reason or another, hey, this is a great person, they're a great personality, whatever, but this just isn't the best job for them, then there's another opening somewhere else that they may be a better fit. If that department interviews them and says, you know what, I'd love to have them over here.
Yeah.
I don't
feel
see a
that's
problem
good,
with that. No, that is perfectly
yeah.
fine.
I was just talking about the situation where we didn't know about it.
Yeah, so what I'm asking is, if we have somebody that wants to transfer from one department to another, so an interdepartmental transfer, do you want to know about it ahead of time, or so long as the department heads can arrange it between themselves? You know,
I think if the department heads are both aware, I'm okay with that.
If they can arrange that.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
I
fine.
just don't want it to be done secretly.
I
Yeah,
like
behind-
this one happened.
Yeah, that was my only concern, was that it was,
Yeah.
not above, on the table.
and one of the things that I don't think, I mean, I haven't seen all the forms and everything that Geary County uses yet, but one of the things I will look at is when somebody terminates. I will visit with the supervisor and find out first if the employee is eligible for rehire. Did they provide 2 weeks written notice? Did they follow county policies? And then also, would the supervisor rehire them? Because there are some times when the person left, gave 2 weeks notice, but the supervisor may say, they were late more often than not, or they had a poor attitude or whatever, so no, I would not rehire them. Or I would rehire them, but not in this position. They just had trouble learning the aspects of this or whatever, but they were a good worker, showed up every day, but I would hire them in this position.
Sure.
So at least get some more information
Yeah.
from the departments on that, because there's a lot of times people will leave and want to come back, and it would be nice to know if they were a good fit.
So Crystal, do we have, to address Trish's question, do we have a policy that you had time to look into?
On the rehires, or
Yeah.
not that I found yet.
Is that something you can maybe work on and give us some direction on that?
Yes, absolutely. And I do have some ideas for our windows for the
Okay.
mask thing too. So I should have those in a day or so.
Nice.
And we'll get those posted.
Sweet.
That's all I have right now.
Well, I talked to you Friday and Trish wanted to talk about county counselor contract and full-time contract, part-time, whatever. I said I want to go into executive session. She did not want to do that.
I don't believe, we're not talking about
Do
specific.
you want to,
In
you feel
person.
comfortable talking about that? over-
What I would like is, since I've only been here a week, I don't think I have enough information yet to provide an informed opinion. What I would like is at least one more week to review the job description, current suits that we may have ongoing, and learn a little bit more about the position, how it fits in here at Geary County before I'm asked to make
Sure.
an opinion on it.
or
I appreciate that. There are 2 job descriptions floating around. I don't know if you have the one that Steve,
I have the one that Steve sent to you last week. 'cause he
okay,
CC'd
and
me
then
on
the
that one.
original one. You
I don't
both?
have the original one, I don't believe. Well, if I have it somewhere, I.
Yeah, you
I
do. Jennifer sent it to
Okay.
me, so I'd like you to look at both of those.
Okay.
And see what your opinion is on them. I know that county counselors are, they can do civil cases in the county attorney's office, like the child needed care cases and stuff, and Steve just took that out. I think actually him making the new one makes it even more part-time than what the original
Job
job
description.
description was. But yeah, I've already told them my opinion. I can come and tell you mine.
Okay, yes, I'll be happy to review it and come back with my,
Okay, because
HR
I'd
professional.
really like to get somebody hired by July. Just because, so
Cross
they'll
training.
have time with Steve, because he isn't very knowledgeable, and
Transition.
yeah, so.
I understand.
And then we also have the K camp to lean back
Mhm.
on too while we're, so.
Yes, Forest Roads is a wonderful resource. Anything else for me?
I don't think so.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
So not every Monday, but let's just say you have a personnel issue or a labor issue, you would put it on the agenda, of
Correct.
executive
Correct.
session.
Question on, either changing a policy or creating a new policy, something like that. that I don't want to wait, I would do that.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm not gonna bombard you every first Monday of every month, but if it can wait,
Oh, that's great.
this is that. Tiffany.
And you're on camera, so.
No, you're on camera. Thank you.
Alex put his makeup on today, just.
Yeah.
Oh, and this was the one that put her, that took her
Wait,
out.
Michelle.
No, same one. It's the same one. We
Do
just
you
changed
need me to
it.
sign both of them?
Now
or-
we just changed.
I got
the-
a
Oh, okay.
So she did.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Thanks, Crystal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So.
Yeah, what do you want?
Well, Dan wanted to use, said last week, or whenever, but wanted to use the podium.
I haven't even gotten that far of
Oh, okay.
being able to manipulate it.
Okay,
You can say that in recess.
we'll be in recess for 15 minutes.
Yeah, okay. Get it, you microphone. Sheriff doesn't need microphone.
His voice projects.
What do you want on these minutes? What do you want?
Oh. This is right. Nice one.
Okay.
But I don't know where, that's what I said.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, I can put it after Charles said that, because it's still to do with that. Okay.
And then the other was that, the comments. That,
So you need more, including that. Yep, yeah.
Well, sure, you were just talking about.
There you go. Hey,
Is that where you want that, or?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I think it works from there, right? That's what we had before. That'll work. Okay.
Got the little owl going on right here.
Okay, 360 view.
Yeah.
So where are we gonna put our people?
Do we need a table or do you want them back here? Hey there. Hey, how are you?
No. Probably, that's probably gotta stay there, so I guess we could just.
I think we can move it.
Yeah.
I think we can move it. Like,
No, because
move it
normally we
over
just
to
have
the
to get up in
side.
front.
Yeah,
Right.
because they'll be right there. Be like-
Yeah. Or we can just move this table off to the side or something and have them stand up here. I mean, that's up to you guys.
You haven't done it for like a year, half. Yeah, what are you saying?
We have.
Like we have, we
Oh,
have so
yeah,
many.
Yeah, well, you got a lot of people. Yeah. Damn.
Damn, this
That's
table is
fantastic.
heavier.
Yeah. I don't know what it's made out of, but wow.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just have them. Hello, how are you?
Okay.
Come up here.
Back there.
So. Straight on. Well. There's 10 promotions, 3 awards, and then 7.
For the Saturday.
Yeah.
That thing is stationary, baby. How when you guys wanna move it?
No, we just, they're gonna have to sit there instead of up here.
So you just want to leave it there then, or
No,
move
but
it
you-
back?
Whatever, you guys tell us, I mean,
We just
we're
moved.
gonna have a line of people right here
Yeah.
facing that way.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can move it.
so we could see their faces.
Well, if you don't want to see their faces, you can put it back here, right?
No.
Oh, you can do it on the side?
Yeah.
I go out there, next, she was like, next year you're gonna have the sun.
Well, I mean, it's gonna happen.
She got me energy and I didn't shoot out there and I knew if I did, if you bought her, I'm anxious.
Yeah, I got that. It's like right on your
I
knees.
don't like to get up early. I like to talk to people on my days off.
Okay.
If it does that,
Okay.
I can speak loud.
You guys have quite a little bit too much.
few more steps from
You
having
go to the shutters in there and then the shuttles. It's like.
So we just recording it, yeah.
About 8 groups of us.
Yeah, so we have our own URL on YouTube Live, and so we'll be able to search that URL, pop it on the website.
That's cool.
Yeah, so this meeting, I'm just recording it, I'm gonna slap it on there, and then we can start.
How's the audio and everything on that?
Oh, it's good, you can come see the video back here. Right now, it's just panned in.
We can do something live. I don't necessarily know.
Yeah, well, it's just panned in on her, but as we're moving and talking, it's gonna, we just, when you guys start talking over there, it'll pan in on you guys. Hopefully, we got people come up that pans in on the Keith says something and shoots over there. Oh. You get something of those?
They got, now.
Girlfriend's over.
They have.
So they were all right? No, I'm not wearing, some of them are wearing jeans.
Okay, all right.
So that's
fine.
They're home, they're going.
Years ago. You be like you did last time. You won't shake her hand. And all that stuff.
So does there need to be a primary part of the school?
No,
Okay.
Oh, school board?
neither one.
What? What'd you ask?
If there was had to be a primary for the school board.
Oh, they don't need one if there's 8.
8, I think 9 tips it over, right?
10.
Oh,
10.
10.
I always thought it was for me.
3 times the number plus 1.
I mean, we got 8, right?
Mhm.
How many seats are up?
3.
Buddy.
Yeah, we did dog food.
It's gonna be natives.
It's gonna make ours look good.
Sheriff, what do you?
Funding lights, is that what you're gonna read? Or are you just gonna?
No, I'm just gonna do some.
Okay.
I finally got them, not really much.
Looking at you.
Appreciate you guys letting us do this over here.
Oh, I appreciate you guys coming.
Our guys are absolutely good. They'll give a Valor Award from the sheriff's office for the same event, not today. We're just gonna recognize them when we get the case.
So do you want us just sitting here or do you want to stand somewhere?
Jesus Christ, I don't know.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, we-
Well, I guess it would look funny if you're sitting back here.
Yeah.
They're not being seen.
Yeah.
I don't
Then
want
we can shake
to
their
stand
hand.
back here.
I was gonna say, before, I think
Where-
they stood up there and
Did it-
shook their hands as they.
Didn't they stand up there? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
put up a desk over
Okay,
Yeah.
well, let us know when you want to do it. We're ready whenever you are. I don't know if everybody's here yet. Okay. We can wait.
Cops tell them 2:30 and they'll show up at 2:35.
Yeah.
there. Is this exactly where we're going at 6:30?
there. Kind of sergeant, yes.
I was kind of really bad and I was I did since the fact that happened. Basically, still was, trying to get more over.
Let's tell them,
Promoted thing to do.
put them in this order.
Should be doing a lot of training.
That's what we have to do. It's part of city. Do you like how fair we are? This afternoon.
I know it's-
Monday,
After-
Tuesday,
yeah,
rolled into
Monday,
four.
Tuesday,
Yeah.
after holiday stuff.
And I took Thursday afternoon on them.
Hey, as long as you
We're
invite
this every day.
You know,
Oh.
I didn't get the writer, so we're still trying to get the.
Oh, from the thing?
Yeah, I didn't get those until.
No, I think that's what it was.
Good. I wanted to hear some, I mean, I know the one, the shooting one,
Who all's got family members here?
Oh, they're all be out.
No, they'll be here. All right, so we're gonna get 3 or more of these from Rick.
but we're gonna stand over here.
Everybody got in, but then we're gonna, Brian's got an order for you, Eric has an order for everybody in. Basically, Brian Stopper, and then. Guys,
David, how many are getting
can you line up up
recognized?
front?
Well, we've got 3 awards.
Sickle, Rose,
They took my sheet, like 7 promotions and 6 lateral transfers.
Okay.
But technically, I mean, the lateral transfers are almost identical.
well, all.
Promotions. Yeah.
If I had enough, I'd hear them all, but I, when I ordered them, I was like, oh, I forgot.
And we have a Sunday race coming and everything
Yeah.
else, and so-
No, he's not.
No, I didn't show you some pictures.
Well, they can come up when it's time. Like when we read yours. Anybody ready to get?
You should know better.
I should, but I don't.
Hey. Oh, but you're gonna have them up there. Oh. One room. All right.
Are you good, you? Good.
How you doing?
All right.
Did you bring any eggs?
What's up, Nate? Hey, sir. How you doing?
That's popped up.
Shut my closet.
That's right.
I trip over my own feet sometimes.
There you go. These are bright.
I mean, I think.
It don't
those are
matter.
good team.
I got it.
Sorry.
We're gonna do a few of the tests, like some of them.
That's.
And, you know, But anyway, it worked
Oh,
really good.
let me
Then
get
we
them
put the
off
info
this
on
time.
it. Those guys have tried.
I got one of them.
But they said that's the best kind, but I think.
So you just shut it on?
Yeah, I put them in, put it in water, turn it on, and then shut it off, and let it stay until. Try that, see how you. Yeah, yeah.
Marcus made a mistake in the air fryer.
Did it work? Did it look good? Yeah.
I didn't try it.
Oh. Willie smokes chicken thighs. Oh, God.
He sucks.
Just let me know if you want to start and I'll,
All right,
snack to order.
We're getting the warrant ones over here right now, so. We're in here, so. Wherever.
No, I gotta say, yeah. Right.
We can start here in just a minute, everybody.
Oh, we have to wait on. Usually early at the ball games, what's up? You're usually early to the ball games, what's up today?
Same ball. There we go.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. They said they sent it to me, so. I know.
Scary part about it, you just know dollars and stuff. No, of course. Use the potatoes, so.
Yeah.
That is totally.
We're gonna be on this side. Yes.
Do
I didn't even know that. Yeah, you definitely ring on here. All right, commissioners, I think we're ready.
All right, I'll call the meeting to order and invite Sheriff Jackson up to start, or do you want to say anything? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
First, I want to thank the Board of County Commissioners for allowing us to have this award ceremony here in their chambers. It's been like a year and a half, a little over a year since we've done anything like this because of COVID. So we've got a lot of promotions to do, as well as some more awards to tell you about. I think we're going to go ahead and start with the awardees. We have 3 of our deputies that recently received awards from the, come on up. Where's Ashmeyer at?
He's in the parking.
All right, we're gonna take a break here for a second. He's not late. Okay.
Sorry, we need Arnold as well.
He's here.
Yeah, we need Arnold.
Clint too.
Come on up front.
You're my lady.
So anyway, these 3 deputies recently, 2 lieutenants and a deputy recently received, 4, received awards from the Kansas Association of Chiefs of Police for valor. These are gold award for valor, and one of them was a silver award for valor. These are pretty prestigious statewide awards, so we wanted to make sure we were recognizing them back here in Gary County. Captain Gilbert's gonna read the citation that goes with each of them, or give us a brief synopsis of what happened while they got their award.
All right. Each one of these deputies up here were awarded from the Kansas Association of Chiefs of Police Valor Award on May 26th of this year for the year of 2020 for acts that they've done throughout the year. Deputy James Garcia responded to an altercation or family disturbance where shots had been fired. Upon arrival with himself and officers from the Junction City Police Department, officers and deputies took fire through the actions of Deputy James Garcia and Officer Doug Cathy. They wound up saving not only their lives, but several other lives on the scene that night. All right, for Lieutenant Mark Mashmeyer responded to Grandview Plaza, where we had a subject who was threatening to jump off a bridge. Lieutenant Mashmeyer, along with Officer Josh Williams and 2 Fort Riley soldiers, were able to get the subject, hold him, and pull him back over the guardrail so he didn't cause any harm to himself or anyone else on that day. All right, Lieutenant Lytle and Sergeant Clint Arnold were recognized for an incident where officers here in Junction City had spotted a wanted subject who ran from them, went and barricaded himself in the house. These 2 fine deputies were outside with the SWAT team when they were receiving fire from the subject inside the residence before he was eventually taken into custody. And they were all awarded awards for their valor on those dates and incidents.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Mark.
Hey.
Yeah, like, oh, yeah.
Good job.
There are captains and lieutenants up here now. So we recently did a little reorganization at the sheriff's office, and we added another separate division because there was enough things going on, those activities that it needed to have its own focused leadership. So
The newest member of the command staff is Captain Stopper. He is in command of the Special Operations Division. Lieutenant Regalado recently was promoted to run the Marine unit. That's also another unit that's got a lot of moving parts, a lot of stuff going on. We are happy to promote him to that position. And Lieutenant Stopper moved out of interdiction, even though he still might do some stuff with interdiction, we needed to fill that position. Brad Rose, Lieutenant Rose has been in that position in interdiction for how long now? 5 years. He was obviously the person that needed to take over that lieutenant position, so as he was promoted to that. And I think it's almost over a year ago, Kurt. Is it a year yet? I think July is a year, right? Kurt Nichols tested for, boarded for, and was promoted to be a watch commander, lieutenant, and sergeant of shift of deputies. Congrats, man. Congrats. Congrats. Thank you. Congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Do the family members want to come up and sit on their new right?
For real.
Wait till you get home.
Throwing some blood.
All right, one more round of applause. Sergeants. All right. We have a certificate of promotion presented to Clint Arnold for the promotion of the position of sergeant effective July 11th, 2020. Your dedication to your job, leadership abilities, and willingness to take on the responsibilities truly appreciated. Well, it's just about a year for you too, right? Sergeant Jason Everson for promotion to the position of sergeant effective August 8th, 2020. Your dedication to your job, leadership abilities, and willingness to take on responsibilities truly appreciated. John Helms, effective January 9th, 2021. Your dedication to your job, leadership abilities, and willingness to take on responsibility is truly appreciated. Sergeant Jason Morian, effective April 17th, 2021. Your dedication to your job, leadership abilities, and willingness to take on your responsibility is truly appreciated. Sergeant Tyler Williams for promotion to the position of sergeant effective May 29th, 2021. Your dedication to your job, leadership abilities, and willingness to take on responsibility is truly appreciated. We have family members that want to come up and pin on their ranks.
Family members, friends. Loved ones.
Yeah, she's a lot.
Got it.
Sorry.
She's back. Here, you gonna hold that?
Now it's your turn.
Hold that?
Okay.
You want me to hold you?
Okay. Oh. Do I just give her new art? What?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
We're all trying.
Down in Mahalo. Yeah, I heard you on Mahalo. Did you? Your cheeks are red, they're like moving. No.
See that? I put me on.
All right, go ahead.
All right. See you in a minute.
That's quite looking.
We'd like to call up at this time people that have taken on lateral transfers. These same people go through the same process as far as boarding and testing for their positions within the department when they move from patrol, whether it be to investigations, interdiction to the Marine unit. We have some people we'd like to call up at this time that have also undergone lateral transfers within the year timeframe of January 2020 to now. Deputy Wright. Alexander Wright boarded and made K-9 and has completely or recently completed his certification for K-9 officer and is our new K-9 officer here in Gary County. This time I'd also like to call up Kayla DeJow, who went through the boarding process and is supposed to go to school this fall and will be our newest K-9 officer when she completes her training this fall. Lieutenant John Lytle, over the last year and a half, has moved over to investigations and taken on the commander of the investigations division. Jason Everson went from patrol sergeant to investigations sergeant and also helps Lieutenant Lytle head up that division. I'd like to call James Garcia. James Garcia tested in Border 4 and is now one of our newest interdiction deputies. And we have Deputy Asby. Deputy Asby is moving over into the Marine unit and will be helping Lieutenant Regalado in that section. Congratulations.
One more round of applause.
That it?
That is it. Yeah, this concludes our ceremony. I really want to thank all the family members and friends that took time out of your schedules to come down. It's important. We appreciate the support. Thank you.
I just would like to, I've served next to a majority of the officers, there's a couple I don't know, but it was an honor to serve with you and I'm extremely proud of all of you and I thank you for all your hard work keeping our community safe. That it?
That's it.
Thank you.
You stand by two times. Okay.
I know exactly if I don't hear you, leave it right down. Yeah, right.
Okay. Congrats, you got a great group of guys there.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys.
Oh, I think so.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's always good to have something. Well, you know, Phil J took us out running for doing these kinds of ceremonies for about a year and a half almost. We had a number of promotions. I think there's 10, plus we had some awards, and we had 5 or 6 lateral transfers. So a lot of stuff is going on that we hadn't been able to share with the public or with the members' families. It was, yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks again. Thank you.
Chair there.
You want to, hey, you want to be on your guy?
Yeah, you gotta go, let's do it.
Hey, we got anybody left out there?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Good job.
I don't even know where they got it from.
It's for from the.
Grab a wall.
Leave the back wall here. Oh. Oh, okay, well, we'll just.
Here comes the key, keys.
Yes.
Well, we got man hair here, we can have them.
Yeah, right.
And I don't have to.
Yeah.
Eighties and seventies. He may or may not need this part tomorrow.
Still like.
Okay.
So I might be down there. Maybe I'm not sure, or not, so. See you later.
Hey, Sheriff,
Yeah.
you still have your guys carry those chairs.
Yeah, we're going. I haven't stood there any for. They take some pictures. Always quick. I'm here.
Yeah. So excited.
Oh, boy. They're on candy camera. Oh. He said you had to present from here. Do? Yeah.
No.
Keith was gonna make you stand up there.
That's fine. I can stand. Trish, can I call you after you're done? I can't be here.
Yes.
What time you done?
We'll be done probably 4:30. Okay. Thanks. Anything for you, Dewey? What do you? Oh, I know.
You want to stop?
I just was curious. Do the budget on video.
All they doing is presenting.
Yeah. Yeah, all about, transparency.
Hey, that's what it says on the thing.
All about it.
Missed it. Yeah.
All the good work.
Yeah.
So what's interesting is, on all those situations, we had, it was no difference, right?
Well, yeah, one guy did, and the other guy. Sad, but he needed.
Yes. That's pretty cool.
The little girl. She's like, "Hey, she's a big saver."
Sir Trump is serious.
Oh,
No, he's got to do his budget.
That little budget.
You can put her in head.
Go ahead. I'm just teasing. Sometimes she's out of control. What's out of control is the weather. We need some sunshine.
Thursday and Friday. Saturday, Sunday.
Sunshine is here.
Yeah, I did. I heard that, and I think it's gonna be really warm this week. Yeah, like in the middle 80s. So I guess.
You're on camera.
Yeah.
And it'll be up for the next day.
You're supposed to eat the podium.
Dump around, Tim.
We told him, but he said he didn't want to.
You're not trying to play well with others today.
Oh, I said I would, and Alex put it away.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah, whenever you guys are, I guess. Ready as ever.
Is the camera ready?
Camera's ready.
All right. Mr. Trump.
When we start.
Road and Bridge.
Big.
What?
Easy.
Some hands there. Oh, Nick, I don't.
All right, you said road and bridge first.
Yes.
Rebecca, you ready?
I am, thank you.
All righty. Trix is already ready.
So what do I do? Just go down line by line? How you guys want this
Okay,
done?
just actually, you can just, I know you wanted to talk about the 2 new positions
Yes,
and, you don't have to go.
okay.
I just want you to, paraphrase what's going on and
Okay, well, I'd like to start off with the first, the salary line for road and bridge. I would like to ask for an additional shop mechanic. Just between, the shop supervisor and the assistant shop supervisor in there. Them two guys are constantly swamped and busy with simple things like oil changes and stuff. It's hard for them to keep up on the major repairs. And that's probably one of the most, a lot of the little stuff take up a lot of their time. And with, you know, head gaskets and more complex repairs, they don't have time to, I want to say, do a lot of the small stuff. A lot of the small stuff gets kind of kicked off the curb and it sits there until they get time to do it. So with the, you know, to me, by adding another full-time employee in the shop area would only increase productivity and efficiency between those two current positions in there. And I did have a narrative, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. I take it you guys got the narrative for the shop assistant
Yeah.
or the shop mechanic. And in that is basically what I have is my, just trying to spread out that workload amongst, instead of just two people, you get a third person in there, and that would make them a lot more efficient and productive when it comes to getting equipment repaired and out the door, in a timely manner. And, you know, general cleaning of the shop and, a lot of the equipment, again, that stuff is pushed aside to more prioritized repairs are needed. So that's my main, goal, is to try to get another person in that shop to assist with a lot of these littler items that can be done in a more timely fashion.
So with that, in the long run, that save money of having to send out farm outs and.
Yes, potentially, yeah.
Do
It's,
you do that, do you have to do that a lot, or
well,
probably on
We-
emergencies?
yeah, we won't do like in-frame overhauls and stuff like that. It's not that they're not skilled to do it. It's they don't have time to do it, to take up one bay for, you know, 3-4 weeks to do an in-frame overhaul. We'd probably need more than just 3 people in the shop if we got into that in depth. But there's a lot of little things that we've, like the diesel laptop we purchased last year, that's already saved a lot of money by buying that program. So we can do computer diagnostics on the equipment that we have, instead of, we don't have no computer diagnostics, we got to send it to Salina or Foley to have them do it. Well, between Jacob and Jeremy, they have been using that diesel laptop even on their pickup trucks. So with that kind of software at hand, they're able to do a lot more repairs in-house, which in turn does save money. Instead of paying a mechanic in Salina $100 an hour to do it, we can save that money and keep it in-house. So, yes, by having that third mechanic would wind up saving us money on down the line.
I mean, long.
Yes.
Do you think 1575 is?
And I got that number from the interim HR, Tiffany, kind of looked at where that was in the range of things, and that's what, she said that should fit in there.
Matched in there?
Yeah,
Okay.
so again, that position would be required to have a CDL, which if you're gonna move a truck that's required to have a commercial driver's license, you should be licensed to do so, so.
And that's competitive.
That's the number I got from her.
Okay.
And that would be the starting wage. Now, there's a little bit of, that's where you gotta be careful with the starting wage, because if you say, well, we'll start you at $18 an hour, there's heavy equipment operators that've been working down there for 2 years and they're not making that yet. So then you're gonna wind up stepping on toes.
Sure.
So that's where we're gotta kind of be careful with what we're doing. But that would be the starting wage for that position.
Okay.
What's next?
And also with that 1575, that 37,760 annual, I did estimate standby pay and overtime, just so you know, so, in which the benefits were not included in that. The next one would be an assistant public works administrator. And again, I got with interim HR on this to try to get the pay somewhere in between myself and Dale Evans, the road bridge supervisor, somewhere in there as at the beginning wage. It's I'm working anywhere from 10 to 13 hours a day. And, it's like right now my phone's ringing. With all the stresses that I've got on a daily basis, there's a lot of moving parts to Public Works, and Dale does not have the time to take over. Hey, you need to monitor building maintenance more. You need to monitor this more. You need to monitor this more. He don't have time to do that. He's too busy monitoring his own crew of guys, 14 of them out doing roads and bridges, maintenance of the highways that we have. He don't have time to do all this stuff. And it's not that I don't have time to show him, he's overwhelmed. And I'm getting overwhelmed, not just with buildings, but with bridge projects, with sewer projects, with all these different things going on that's geared towards Public Works. By having a backup, and I've always felt strongly in this, no matter if you're a building maintenance guy or a road and bridge guy, everything needs to have a backup. Because if I get up and walk out that door, if I get killed in a car crash tonight, nobody's gonna know anything what's going on. And that's the scary part about it. In 4 years, I'm gonna have my points in 4 years. That don't mean I'm gonna retire, but that doesn't mean that I can't. So my thing is, by having a backup that is familiar with all of the components, the administrative components to Public Works, and that's anything from dealing with KDHE to the Department of Ag to KDOT to the Department of Labor and all that kind of in a nutshell. The solid waste management plan. I mean, there's a lot of things that I do on a daily basis that a lot of people, I don't say that they're not privy to it, they just don't have time to get trained on it. And to me, that's the biggest component, is having a backup for somebody in case of an absence or a week's. I don't even like taking vacation. I don't, because when I come back, it's just a mess because you're behind. I try to keep up on my emails even when I'm on a week's vacation. But to me, when you go on vacation, you should go on vacation.
I agree.
So, but it's I guess I'm more old school. Even if I do go on vacation, I'll still check in and stuff because I care. I do. I sincerely care about it. But by having somebody as a backup to the administrator, I think is a smart idea for the county on down the line, just because of all of the complexities of Public Works and all the different entities that we work with, from, I've already named them, KDHE on tank tank permits and everything that we deal with by training a second person to understand. So that way when they get past that baton, they should know a general direction to go with it. So, but to me, that's the biggest part, is having somebody in place to fill that, to help me out, plus fill that void if one of them would drop out. You know what I mean? So that's my biggest thing. So.
Would you think that would probably be an outside person, or?
I would think.
To be honest with you, I would rather, the way I see Public Works, we should hire within. And it's no different than trying to prepare somebody for the next step in their career, whether it be a heavy equipment operator that wants to be the crew foreman. That crew foreman should be cross-training all these, those positions to potentially take over in that position one of these days. So to me, with the cross-training in-house, you're better off because they know the county, they know the steps, they know the people, instead of having somebody come in blind. And I ain't saying they couldn't do it. I came in blind, and I felt it didn't take me long to kind of pick up the pieces. And I'm the kind of person that didn't want to come in and just start rocking the boat left to right, kind of see how it's managed, how it works, and see if there's any deficiencies that can be improved on immediately or anything like that. So, just trying to see how everything was working out. And, I did quite a bit of, after 6 to 8 months I was here, I did quite a, I don't say revamping, but just some different set of eyes on something always helps out a lot too. So,
I did check out your goals, and I know you and I talked when we drove around and were looking at all the projects that you would like to do. And we talked about software that would probably make things more efficient.
yes.
Do you have any idea how much that software costs?
No, and again, right there, that with an assistant, it freed either me up or them up time to research such things. So, not just that, but it's, KDOT cost share programs and stuff like that. It's just so many things going on. You can only take on so much. And by having somebody else at my side, that we could kind of split this up and divide and conquer type thing. So, no, that is on my to-do list I haven't sat in on any, webinars per se, or sales pitches or what you want to call them.
Yeah.
But they have been knocking at my door.
Because I'd really like to see, because I know that would help efficiency as
Yes.
far as you keeping track. Some of the admin stuff would help, that would help you out a lot.
Correct.
So,
Yep. And like on the goals, the organization and filing, I've made, I won't say a little bit of effort, but you've seen
mhm.
the filing down there. It's atrocious. And there's a lot of bridge plans that need to be going through, scanned in, brought up here with Troy, get them scanned in, saved electronically. It's, again, two people, divide and conquer. I don't have time to go out there and sift through that. But somebody that knows how long we have to retain these documents, whether it's 5 years, whether it's permanently. I mean, I need to trust who I put out there in order to make sure we're saving the right documentation for the historical registry stuff. So, I got on supervisory training. I have, I will say a couple of months ago, it's been longer than that, but they've been attending some webinars, some supervisory training or webinar stuff through LTAP. And I actually had them go through a supervisory reasonable suspicion training through Compliance One. That's the company that we have for our drug testing, drug and alcohol testing. They did go through a random, I think everybody went through it but Mario as at this time. So, which I sent him an email this morning reminding him to get that done. But and again, continue to cross-train all the employees as we possibly can, because the better cross-trained they are, the better off we're gonna be. Then also put down the water and sewer number 4, and I'm still waiting on Call Valley to give me proposals on that work, per se for the American CARES Act stuff, but I think that's gonna be a pretty big chunk. So, but still waiting on Leon to get everything proposed on what we think an estimated construction costs are gonna be, and probably a professional service agreement to get something going on that. So,
Yeah, I think it's important
very, yeah.
to get that area done.
That's up at,
As far as the other, basically what I've been having people do is just come in and just talk about your departments, and you did a great job with the requesting and why you needed it, and what the increases were for. So I know you have quite a few budgets you have to do.
And that's the other thing too, is the assistant, or if you want to call them the deputy, the assistant public works administrator, whatever their title would be, dealing with all these budgets at budget time. I'm still new to these. I mean, this is my only 3rd cycle that I've been through. So, if I had to grade myself for the knowledge I had before when I came in, I think I'd be scored pretty high, because at KDOT, I didn't do this stuff. I just spent the money. Where I purchased this or I purchased that. I didn't have anything to do with the budgets that come out of Topeka, that came out of district headquarters and so on. So, but I want to thank Teresa and Rebecca tremendously for kind of teaching me the whole gamut of county budgets. And there's still a lot on my plate that I still have to learn, but I'm not afraid of a challenge. So.
Yeah. The works were a great asset. Yeah, it was not pretty when you came on board, and I wasn't even aware of that. Thank you.
Do I need to talk on, what was it, the line increase for road gravel?
I know, I think that's pretty explanatory.
Because, well, last year I asked for 50,000 more to get to 300 and it didn't get approved. So, and, it's one of those things where, you know, we looked at the rock costs that I'm gonna have for just Laurel Drive and Laurel Circle up there was over $50,000.
Yeah.
We haven't done it yet. It's been too wet. And there's a landowner out there that's been beating his drum on getting it done. He's very irate and aggravated, but
Is he planning on building right away?
he's planning on building 3 houses on 3 different lots. But he didn't like it when we told him that he's gotta buy the culverts. He wanted us to buy them and we reimbursed, no, you buy them, you have them delivered, we'll put them in.
Speaking of that, was that fit under the American Rescue?
The culverts?
The culvert,
Oh,
yeah, for the roads,
I
I don't
don't
think the
think
road is covered, but if we got,
That's
from-
infrastructure.
well,
so. Yeah, but
so,
it's
for
water and
water-
sewer infrastructure.
it's water, sewer and broadband infrastructure. It's really not, those are platted roads that were platted back in the 60s and nothing was ever done.
Oh, that's how long ago it was platted, in the 60s?
67.
So,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Mhm.
and this guy thinks it's all my fault that nothing's.
You can give my number.
but if, I mean, if we're running sewer and water lines out there, would that, could his road be, well, would that be the case?
I
I don't think
think
it
it would.
will. I don't.
I don't think it would. And, you know, in thinking of that theory, okay, the water main to me appears just off in the ditch. The sewer main is right down the center line of the road. So if we're gonna go in there and put gravel on it, when wherever that main is that we need to connect to and proceed on, they're gonna wind up destroying that gravel road in order to put that main in.
Yeah,
And it's like, what do you do?
yeah.
You know, you know, the contractor's gonna have to put it back. You know, if it's gravel, he's gonna put it back to gravel. So
Sure.
it's one thing to where, I think there's gonna be some lots that are gonna be selling here pretty quick. Up on Tower Road where it intersects with Laurel Drive, just because of the phone calls I've been receiving from some people that, generally get campsites at Milford because of the increased costs up there. So, I think there's gonna be some developments going on up there, so, which will be a big asset to both utilities.
Yes.
You know, the more people we get using them, the better off we're gonna be.
Mhm. So, and I know I've talked a little bit about that, when we put in that infrastructure, like when I built my house and I had to pay the specials. Now, would we assign specials to cover some of the infrastructure to the water and sewer area that we're putting in there?
When, just say the sewer, when the sewer goes in, it's gonna be lower in cost to maintain because they're gonna be non-discharging lagoons. We don't have to treat the sewer water. We don't, it's all taken care of naturally. Now, 40, 50 years on down the line, I'm not saying that, okay, hey, we need to pump sludge out, or we need to build another cell, or there's a, you know, if the pond's leaking or something like that. It all could happen. But to me, there needs to be, and this is in both water and sewer, there needs to be a set aside maintenance plan to where if something catastrophic happens, there's money set aside for that.
Well, and that's where I'm thinking like maybe a 10 or 15-year specials, because we're putting this in there and then being able to use that money for the maintenance of that area.
Mhm.
I think that might be something we could look at, nothing extravagant, but you know, just
But it,
specials to cover the cost of what we're paying in the infrastructure and then be able to,
like with sewer, there's no money in there there's never been any money in there, correct me if I'm wrong, for just normal every 5-year maintenance, you know, clean and inspect the sewer mains. It's never been done.
yeah.
And it's just gonna wind up putting a Band-Aid on a Band-Aid.
Exactly.
It's
I don't
gonna
do
be
that, yeah.
a festered up sore in 20 years. I mean, you've gotta have maintenance in order to keep that utility going.
Yes.
And just the way it's been managed for all these years, it's just, we're just asking for it. And I think with this American CARES Act,
We can fix that problem, but I also feel that the property owners need to take part of that because we're doing that for their area. And that's
Yes.
the only area that's affected by it. So the specials to
And-
connect to those, I think should be put on them.
Yeah, and that's one thing I did talk with Randy just last week on, with Caw Valley. He's gonna be, looking at getting some of those costs together for the proposals. I know we jumped from road and bridge right to sewer, but.
Yeah.
But he's gonna look at what, but then again, maintenance costs of 2021 is gonna be totally different in 2025.
No, but
So
it's
there's-
better to have
there's gonna
something
be-
than nothing.
There's gonna be increases in that. But as far as, I would think that if we do it the right way now, both those utilities, especially sewer, they're gonna be so much better off because, instead of, I don't know what the main line looks like. Okay, let's clean it, let's inspect it, let's line the whole thing. Just get it over, with, line it. It ain't gonna last forever. Put a liner in, that thing will last for a lot longer than it would be if you didn't do nothing to it. And then, periodically, once every 5-10 years, you don't have to do it all at once, but if you just do small segments every 2 years, eventually you're gonna get around to get everything inspected, within we'll say 5 to 10 year range, but it'd be nice to do it at least every 5 years
Sure.
to just inspect it to make sure there's no blockage or anything like that, or tree
Yeah,
roots.
especially, and I agree, cause then you could build up a little bit of an account. Make it fair and reasonable, like you said, nothing extravagant.
Right. But years ago, if something would have been set back for that,
Yeah.
there'd be a little pot of money to help with these lagoons instead of.
No, we're.
That's what I'd like
we're just living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that. I want to be able
Right.
to plan, so we're not caught with things down, have everything break at once.
Yes,
What we did is increase the fees over time.
in 2018, we increased it, yeah.
And
I mean, it's
that
a
ain't gonna
beautiful
cover-
area out there.
That don't cover. nothing.
No, the sewer, if you figure in their taxes and their user fees, they're probably pretty close to what the state average is. They're under.
Right.
But if we go through and get this loan with rural development, what they'll look at is what is the state average? And they're gonna have to be at the state average in order to pay that 40-year loan. So, it's, and they got that loan. What I've been told is we'll get some grants from KDHE and they've got that loan forgiveness through rural development. So, if the people out there, they can only pay this much, but the bill's this much, there's that loan forgiveness for rural development to come in and get it down to where they're paying state average for 40 years, and that's what's paying that off. But with the American CARES Act coming in, there's a lot of moving parts to
Yeah.
rural development stuff. With the American CARES Act, we can come in and get this thing built and get it done, get the new lines put in, get everything else clean, inspected, get the new liner installed, new valves.
And I think that'll generate people building their houses.
I think it would
I
too.
truly do. And I mean, it's a beautiful area, and I think that people are wanting that kind of an area to build a house at.
Yeah, because if you look at back in the 60s and 70s, if you wanted to go build a home, you wanted it close to the town or place you work, you don't
Yeah.
want to have to drive, back then it probably took them 30 minutes to get into town. Well, that's just too far away and there's nothing out there, but there's a lot of people that wouldn't mind a 15 to 20-minute drive.
Yeah.
To me, it's good decompression time
Yeah,
when you get home.
exactly.
But no, the solitude out there, it's pretty nice. And I really think that there's gonna be people taking advantage of it.
Well, especially if they see homes going up.
Yeah.
They go, ooh, this might be a good place.
Exactly.
So,
Okay.
Have you ever put in for a USDA rural development loan at all?
I just hit the application button the other day for the sewer number
Oh,
for the
okay.
lagoons.
Are we been successful getting some or?
This is the first.
Oh, it's the
This is
first
the
one?
first one,
Oh, okay.
first
okay.
one we've
Did
done.
they ask you, the makeup of the commission?
No,
Oh, okay, because I was talking to one of the girls at your thing and they asked for the race and gender of the commission. On your USDA loan.
does it matter?
Well, they want to see if you're a diverse community.
We're
and-
super diverse.
Yeah, and I thought, okay, that would give more chance of getting it.
Well, I think with KDHE beating this drum with sewer number 4, we're gonna get it.
Yeah.
But with the American CARES Act,
They
I
might
think-
say, well, you.
I think this is great timing. I mean, to me, it's just like, why do a 40-year loan when the American CARES Act money is there to pay for it?
Exactly.
And then you get it done and
Mhm.
let's get to moving on
Yep.
to hopefully a brighter future for both of them, for both sewer and water.
What's next?
Noxious weed. Pretty much everything.
Before you- oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
In roads and bridges, are you looking at them silos that we talked about, or is that on the next budget?
Oh, you're talking the salt sand bunkers? Yeah, that's through the capital improvement fund.
Okay,
That's on a different, and
That'll be a different day.
Oh, okay.
okay, I'm jumping ahead, I'm sorry.
okay, noxious weed. Pretty much everything stayed the same as budgeted for 2020. For 2022. And of course, the 2022 COLA is not included in that. And again, I'll estimate $5,000 at the end of the year to transfer over to capital outlay, so if it's there.
Was it there for you this year? Will it be there for you this year?
It should be.
Okay.
It should be. Last year, we transferred, I believe, 20,000 over into, that'd be the, not equipment reserve, into the capital outlay, noxious weed capital outlay.
Might tell them what you use that for.
Oh, the noxious weed capital outlay? Okay, well, that was the next one. That's basically for any equipment we need for the noxious weed department, which also includes mowers or mower tractors. At this time, me and Tom don't, he's got relatively I won't say decent newer trucks, but he's got low miles on some of these trucks. And I think maybe another year or two, we might look at, I don't want to hang on them too long or they start losing value real bad, but we need to keep them for a little bit in order to get our use out of them. Then hopefully the little rental spray type sprayer that he got with, it's old, but it still works. It don't get rented that often or sent out anyway, but that may be something in the future we need to look at replacing.
Oh, we did replace the 4-wheeler.
Yeah, we replaced the 4-wheeler last year, 2 years ago, 2019. Yeah. ATVs they use for spraying, and they also use them for clearing snow off sidewalks in those during snowstorms, so. Any questions about, I guess, noxious weed or the noxious weed capital outlay? I'm sorry. Building maintenance, pretty much everything stayed the same. I didn't show any increases there for 2022. Questions on that one?
Also,
Then water number 2 is my next one.
Who takes care of number 2? Same as 4?
Well-
Okay, I didn't know if that was.
Water number 2 and sewer number 4 is ours to maintain. Water number 4 is,
Is Cliff that does
with the
it, okay, so
board.
he does it, that's separate,
yes, that's totally separate from us, yeah.
I see.
water too, just quickly, handles the whole thing,
Lower Canyon.
just like sewer.
Maybe we could just get them all brought up to snuff and just give it to
Yeah,
number 4.
I don't know. I think we got better water and sewers. Water too.
Eliminate a headache. I'm just kidding. With water number 2, I don't have any increases for, of course, this is mill levy and user fee funded.
So you don't anticipate electricity increasing?
Oh, I think it was right there enough where we had enough left over from last year. We should be fine. And that contractual line, the reason it was in the red was because we had that standpipe, cleaned and inspected at the end of 2020. I wanted to use the capital outlay line, but after the fact, really wasn't a capital outlay expense, so we just went to the contractual line, which, you know, the total bottom, budget at the bottom, it didn't exceed that, so we were still good. And sewer number 4. I left it the same as 2021. And hopefully we can have lagoons in place by this time next year, hopefully. As Randy told KDHE that it's probably gonna be construction start date July 1, which ain't gonna happen. And total or approximate end date of construction is December of this year, but I think with the American CARES Act, getting the application submitted, did that get submitted yet? So
I wouldn't think it takes too long to get it once we do apply for it, and then, I mean, immediately, I think we'd be able to.
I see somebody filled out the survey and sent it in.
Yeah, I did, and Gary did too. I did it the week before, but Gary did it. It doesn't, I mean, I don't think it hurts to have more than one. Those other counties got called out for not having it.
Yeah, I was glad our name wasn't on.
Yeah, right?
Yep. Next one be Special Bridge. And I think last year it was a $500,000 last year. I know I asked for $1 million, but I think I got a half. That's where, you know, we got a lot of costs coming out of Road and Bridge for the special bridge fund for the East Lions Creek Bridge. And that's, you know, after KDOT reimburses for the Kansas Local Bridge Improvement Project. That's for the plan, from what that bridge project is slated on. Once we get reimbursed for that, we'll spend approximately $211,960.50. So.
Special bridges at 3/4 of a mil.
Thought it was $1 million, or $500,000 is what they approved last year, I thought.
Budget 1,650.
Oh, so it's 3/4?
Yeah. Cause I was gonna say, we moved it up from a half to 3/4.
Yeah, I think we tried to mill it. It got cut to 3/4.
But I mean, whenever you came on board and we found out Conway's Ridge deal, and you suggested we bump it up $250,000, which we did. And then I don't recall you asking for another quarter last year. I thought we backed off one year, back to a half.
I'd have to go back through what I submitted. I thought I had $1 million on there. I thought $500,000 got approved, so.
So I guess my question is, with both of those bridges, how much is it gonna go up?
Well, again, the estimation on the Conroe Bridge right now, the county is gonna wind up paying for like $580,000 just for the Conroe. And again, that's estimate. I still gotta, you know, depends on this letter I'm getting tonight from Betty, whether it's gonna happen or not. But again, some of the cost with the Conroe is also coming out of 2021. So, I don't want to say a good portion of it, but the good portion of the construction costs, that ain't gonna happen until 2022. And on there, that little graph that I got down below that shows all the total costs of KDOT share, county share, what the county's already paid. I got that from Brett as of May 12th.
Okay.
So that is the latest and greatest, what I got on the 12th of May from it.
In 2019, we levied 1.5 mils, and it was 3/4 of a mil in 2020 and 2021. That's what we did. I don't have it here what you asked for.
because we do have other bridges. I'm still waiting on Brett to get me a list of, basically an order of importance on, some of these other bridges that we got. You know, if you take, I believe the next one that should be is down on McDowell Creek Road.
So this is the Conroe Bridge cost, 580,000 total,
Estimated, yeah.
for what we would have to pay after?
Say again?
And that's what we would have to pay after, or?
That should be the total cost to the county. It's gonna be close to that 580,000.
Okay.
Because KDOT will pay up to $1 million for the construction costs of the bridge.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's got bridges listed on here, you know, within 5 years, within 10 to 15, replaces necessary for use, but he's gonna be getting me in order, their last bridge inspections, which they just finished up last month, so I haven't got them, yet, but, you know, we're looking at several bridges in the next 5 to 10 years to replace. I think it's gonna be our biggest hurdles to get through Conroe and get through the East Line Script Bridge first, and then figure out which direction we need to go from there, from what bridge of the importance is next, so. The next one will be fuel surcharge. And I think when I first started, that fund was almost 10,000 in the red. And now we're, $2,976.21. We're gaining on it. Had a new fueling system installed in 2019. Honestly, I think that was a big problem, was it was just a maintenance nightmare with that old system. Since we got that newer system installed, you know, it's been a godsend to have, I know that.
Safer thing.
Yeah. A lot more efficient, with especially time, and the breakdowns we had with those older pumps, and the actual gas buoy system itself was very problematic. Then we got solid waste environmental. Again, $40,000 of that from this year was to assist with paying for that hopper and the tipping for project. And then estimated it's probably gonna be just under $1,000 this fall for getting the monitoring well testing done per KDHE regulations. Hay harvesting income, that's the only revenue that we see off of that. And that's something that I initiated, I believe, back in 2018. And that lease, it's set up on a 3-year lease term, and this will be the last year for that first initial 3-year lease. So probably next year I'll send it out for a bid again. Next is waste disposal. Again, this is a user fee funded fund. And I think this is another one that we need to look at towards the end of the year and see figure out how much cushion we want for the following year as far as cash carryover. And then if there's a little bit of extra, put that into like a capital improvement fund just for the transfer station. Cause if you look at, we spent a lot of money on the tipping floor and the hopper. 15, 20 years from now, it's probably gonna have to be done again. Well, the lifespan of that facility, it was only for like 20, 25 years and it's already outlived its lifespan. So my thought is in, another 25 years, might be looking at having to rebuild a brand new transfer station. At that time, I think the one they just built down in Marion was, I think like 2.5 million for that.
We probably need one twice as big.
And yeah, we would need one a little bit bigger because that was only made for 40 tons a day and we're seeing 130, between 130, 140 on average. And granted, Saturdays are slowest day, but it all averages out. But by putting money aside for repairs and maintenance, if the scales go bad, we need to replace scales. In 2018, I had to replace the bottom scales and they were $70,000, $80,000 for the scales. So it don't take much to dwindle a fund if you don't have it. So, but maybe towards the end of the year, look and see what we have in there and maybe come up with having a little maintenance fund just for not just repairs of facilities, but hopefully, future construction. So there's something there to, heck, if we can squander away 1.5 million and the new transfer station costs 3.5, well, there's 1.5 million that's already sitting there instead of going out in bonds for the whole mess. And then, so it's something to think about anyway. So. Then I did increase the salary line. Again, it's a user fee funded, but in absence of the scale clerk, if he takes vacation or if he's sick or something like that, I'll have a noxious weed employee or road bridge employee go down to fill in for the absence of clerk if the temporary employee is not available because he's on limited hours per year. So. And the Cloud County Community College. And it's a non-levied fund.
For the commission's benefit, that money comes from them paying us rent. Clark County pays us rent. Okay, so that's where that money comes from.
Okay.
Is building D paid off yet? You know how long it's gonna be? Mr. Opat asked me that the other day. I think there's.
Do you know, Teresa, we haven't really looked into that kind of stuff yet, but I don't have that memorized and I don't. But yeah, buildings A, B, and C are paid for, have been for a long time. And at the point that those bonds were paid off, then we continue to charge Flood County rent.
And then use
And
that.
it goes into this fund so that there's money there to take care of the buildings. I think it gets used for mowing and snow removal.
Mowing, snow removal.
All that kind of stuff, so that we're trying to have it so that it quote pays for itself so that we're not having to levy money for it.
So you only, this year you only requested 30,000 that went to the fund that rolled over. And so you just, right? Am I reading this right?
They just used their.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has there ever been any talk of expanding that campus?
Not since they did building D.
How long was that? I can't remember.
It's been a long time.
Was what, building D is the one that's on the west side? Is that right?
South, very south building.
So,
Of the very south building,
Yeah.
okay.
it's their lab sign.
Yes, I was gonna say, yeah, because I did a class there, biology class, and that was in 13, so.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Down this way.
To
To the south.
Closest to Walmart.
Yeah,
Closest to Walmart, thank you.
it'd be
Don't know.
closest to Ash Street.
No.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't, then that's not, no, that was.
Closer.
I'm standing
Yeah,
in
you're
front
right,
of
I'm
it.
sorry.
The one that's, yeah.
Yeah, all the way to your right.
I usually do, I'm pretty good with north and south, but apparently not today.
Everybody's throwing.
You have it right.
Yeah.
Direction
Go
traffic.
down the
Sorry.
road, take a left and take a right.
I didn't didn't take a class in that one. I took a class in the one that's closest to Walmart. And that was biology then. I don't know if it is now.
I took a class in the main building and the one closest to Walmart. Sweet.
Okay,
Okay.
the FFE, can you explain that, how that works? Or Rebecca or Teresa, I don't know.
In fact, keep always receipts.
Yeah.
Keep on-
I gotta keep all my receipts.
Okay,
It's federal funds exchange from KDOT. Basically, you're taking federal money, exchanging it for state dollars, and KDOT keeps 10 cents on the dollar. So if we allot not to exchange it, we can't use KDOT as a bank, so you gotta pull it out. And if you don't, there's other grants out there that if you don't use this, you can get, but you're getting more bang for your buck by going ahead and exchanging it out. That's why a lot of counties and cities do go ahead and take advantage of the federal funds exchange.
because
There's,
it gives you more freedom with what you can use the money for.
yes, yes. But basically, like this year, and from what I've been told, what determines the amount of dollars you can get back depends on how many people register their cars in your county to, not the fuel use, the population of your county, and I believe the number of highway miles you have. There's a combination that kind of comes up with that figure. And since I've been here, that number's kind of been, bouncing up a little bit and down a little bit as time goes on. But this year, at 2021, the funds available is $127,000, almost $128,000. So, and I got to keep receipts, and I normally do it with like chip sealing, because the bigger ticket items is a lot less receipts that I have to input in that form. And it's just easy peasy just to give that instead of last year I did road rock and that thing was a mile long. But, I got to show that what we spent money on was for roads and it went on roads. It didn't go out in the stockpile. So, but hopefully here after chip sealing gets done, I'll send it off to, we already signed the agreement with KDOT to receive it for 2021. So whenever I get the receipts and we spend the money, then we'll get that 127,000 to put back in that FFE. And, along with that, we can use, from what I understand, we can use this federal funds exchange money on roads and bridges. So if there's a bridge or a culvert or a box that we need to get done, special bridges don't have the money, we could always fall back on that. We did, since I've been here, the only time we've taken any money out of the FFE fund was Old 77 mill and overlay. I think we had almost 600,000 in there, I
We
believe.
banked that over a period of time.
Yeah, so, and I think probably since 2016, it was just getting banked, and then we did the mill and overlay on Old 77, which took a little bit out of it.
And then we happened to hit a good year on petroleum prices and cost of asphalt because it had dropped.
Yeah. Yep. Holy cow, that was the last one.
Holy cow, yeah, it
So
was.
It was the last one. Good job. That didn't hurt, did it?
I'm an open book.
Not yet, anyway.
Pay
The pain comes later, yeah.
No, we haven't even made a decision for you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate your hard work.
You betcha. Is that it then? Or-
Yeah.
This is hot off the press.
Yeah.
Scared to ask.
Taxpayer.
Oh,
Oh.
That's that Trish did for me. Put it on the back because I'm gonna have to respond to her. Tell me how to respond to her, sir.
Does anybody need water? It gets so hot in here.
I know it is.
Like you talked about.
Is it too cold?
It is a
now?
little chilly now.
Well,
Yeah, it was really hot when everybody was in here. I was like, oh.
the gentleman was in here this morning, is in that same neighborhood.
Okay.
Does anyone want water or anything?
No, thank
I'm
you.
good, thank you.
First,
Your copy.
Yeah, let me go get with Mr. Goody and, see if he in fact sprayed herbicide down there. I don't know where he's been. So mowed to death.
Mowed to death.
They haven't made a full round yet.
They haven't even been by my house.
Not gonna be mowed to death. The email that I sent you or CC'd you on to the other gentleman down on McDowell Creek Road last week?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Will Hollis was the operator and Will knew to stay up above those markers. And there was one spot where he went about that far past that marker. And that's what he had an issue about. So I told Dale, I
That was
said,
the gentleman that was in there this morning.
and I told Dale, I said, from now on, drop the 5 feet, the 5-foot wing on that 10-foot deck, 5-foot wing and go straight line. 5 foot's all you get. Somebody hits a deer, I don't want to hear it. But we should be buying right away on Lower McDowell, because we don't even have right away that goes to the bottom of the ditches. Now, how can we maintain ditches? Like, on somebody else's property. Mowed to death.
So, all right, so you're gonna talk to Tom.
Yeah, see what he is spraying for, see what he is doing, or even if he is down there. Cause he's gotta keep a record of what he sprayed, wind direction, temperature, the whole 9 yards.
It was a harm.
Maybe. So let me visit with Tom and I'll get back with you.
Please.
Well. Thanks again, Corey.
You betcha.
Appreciate your hard work and dedication.
Well, we'll keep plugging away. Tomorrow's a new day. Do you want me to come in sometime on the capital improvement?
Yeah, I'll get with you, Lynn.
Okay, let me know.
I sure will.
Is that, like, are they separate for just him or other people have their own because other people have their own,
Capital improvement is
just
usually stuff that Corey comes
does,
up with.
okay. I didn't have any
Capital,
outlet,
outlay, we all have in our budgets
Yeah.
for equipment.
but everybody's building is covered under Corey's purview, pretty much.
Well, yeah, because we have the county facility fund, which is
Corey, did you ever get up to the
and
hospital?
we have sometimes things go in capital improvement.
Oh, so
What is your
they-
assessment?
Okay, so you have two accounts that cover
And
improvement.
the county
Because I can tell
facility
you-
fund, when all of us quit paying,
They haven't taken care of that
rent
place.
because of bond issues, then we developed those county facility funds and the amount of was reduced a lot.
Okay.
And so then money went into those county facility funds so that we would have money in case we had to, replace
Major,
car
yeah.
Smart.
HVAC goes out, whatever.
Yeah, we don't want to.
So my office comes up with how much money do we have in it, and he comes up with how do we need to spend it. so to speak.
Yep. And, the vice strips on them.
So usually I do the county
That's why I said.
facilities because it's a non-levy fund, but I'll get with Corey and say, okay, this is how much money
I said, my
we have in
recommendation.
it, this is what we
Engineer can-
spent today.
Engineer
What
assess
are your
what.
projections and what
needs to
the
be
needs
approved
are
upon.
so that we can
Okay,
get
and
those done.
go off the recommendations, right? Because I'm not a mechanical engineer.
Yep.
But, yeah, it's a.
No, it's just been in record for so long.
I mean, even the guy that they fired up till, I want to say last year, wasn't doing crap down there. Did he tell you what he did with the water chillers?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think they
We should be
just
going
changed.
in there looking at that.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
It's eye-opening.
it is.
eye
He
opening.
took me outside and he showed me the steps, and I'm like, I think the steps, at least you're worried. You can get them done pretty quick, just get some E&M or somebody to get them fixed. So the rest of that's gonna take some doing, it's all the lead for the asbestos and stuff they got. Cause, you know, it's okay to have it in there, but if they have to replace a pipe, they're gonna have to have asbestos remediation done, and
I think they just they changed out the water softeners, I believe, but the damage was already done.
yeah.
And that was.
Did they tell you, like, those things were filled with calcium all the way down, like halfway full filled with calcium?
Yeah.
So. All right, well, I appreciate you looking. I don't need you down there helping. And I don't think that's what we really cared for.
You didn't sign up for it.
Yeah.
No, I think they need a professional engineer to look at it.
All right.
All right,
Have
thank
a
you.
good day.
You need to take that back to the board and let them know.
I think he had told,
He did
he
tell
had told
you.
Jeff that,
Okay.
and Jeff agrees with them. He said, you know, Corey will go over what they think, so.
And, yeah, I mean, my purpose wasn't to have Corey.
No, I know, but we should be inspecting, that's our building, and we expect them to take care of it. We should be checking that they are.
At some point. That's another discussion topic.
Yeah.
That was a lot of numbers. I think I'm gonna see numbers in my sleep.
I see you got your budget food out there.
Oh, yeah.
No, you can. I just put that those were work sessions so that people would know there wasn't going to be any action
Yeah.
taken, but I didn't make the afternoon, I mean, I didn't make it a work session, for
Okay.
no action. I'm not saying, yes, you can, never mind.
They just answered the question a moment ago. I have the minutes from the 24th. Trish had, in the paragraph about the CVB where she talked about promoting the lake, I had something in there about promoting things in the city. She said, she wanted to say promoting the lake, they should be promoting things in other parts of the county as well as the lake. So I changed that, and then we were talking about the CVB being a county department. She advised that the board is an advisory board, not a board of directors. So I changed that. Then when Tammy was talking about getting vaccine information out, I had in there about them contacting Mr. Dinkle, and she had said that, but she wanted to say to get with Mr. Dinkle to have the information sent out to all city employees as well as Tammy sending it out to county employees.
Which we haven't seen yet.
Well, hi, Krista.
You're being filmed.
I think I did my hair for today.
And make.
Go in the club.
Then, if you could, we just.
I'm gonna catch my breath. You've got plenty of time.
Okay. Alex, when they were talking about, when Michelle was talking about the K-State wanted to bring the baseball teams in to use facilities here in Junction City. I had that there was a second team or something. He said those are intramural teams.
Yeah,
So I changed that. And that was all for Keith and Al, or Trish and Alex. Now Keith. In the part where we're talking about the ad from Brad Rather, Keith wanted to add, Commissioner Asher said Mr. Rather submitted the comments 3 weeks earlier, but the paper didn't print it, so he paid for it. So I added that. And then Sheila Burdette said a lot of groups were coming to the CBB board meetings wanting, I have things, and he said, comma, including money. So I added that. I had to add the word should, and the other was just grammatical errors that I didn't get a period or something.
Commissioner.
Commission to commissioner, yeah. So that was it for the 24th.
Motion to approve.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And I gotta get some lines on here for you to sign just to.
Oh.
Okay, and Krista gets done. Okay, Krista, I'm done. Do you have your breath?
Have
Okay,
you caught it yet?
I'm breathing.
good, dude. Thank you.
You got the show.
I just want you to talk about.
Oh, you want?
I was like, yeah, how about,
Okay.
we've never had these kind of meetings
I
before,
know,
so
I know.
if you
So
want, if you,
basically, I appreciate what you wrote and, if you want to talk about that, touch on that, and then point out any, things that we should be concerned about in your.
okay,
budget.
perfect. I just didn't know what direction you
Yeah,
needed
I
to
know,
go.
sorry,
So,
I didn't know either.
obviously you've been provided, the requested budget proposal for the Erie County Attorney's Office for 2022. Overview wise, I have 4 additional attorneys, to myself. I have eight full-time support staff and then an additional, person, student intern, who comes in holidays. And that I budget for as far as personnel goes. I have done a more in-depth personnel study in previous years, but based on the county's financial situation, basically know that right now adding $100,000 position to my office plus a secretary is not feasible. Plus, I've never had room to put him anywhere and presently don't until hopefully this project gets wrapped up. So I did not put that in my request directly as far as like, hey, now, can I tell you, comparable jurisdictions of the caseload that we have in the realm of 6 to 7 full-time attorneys. I have 5. So yes, do we have a need for more attorneys? Yes. Do we make deal with what we have? Yes. But is our caseload too high? Absolutely. Does it cut down on the amount of time and attention we can give to each case? Absolutely. And so we just do the best that we can with the time and the resources that we have. So ultimately in the future, when I have more space to house another attorney, I probably will be coming for a conversation. But I do know logistically, obviously, there's some attorney changes happening over the next year within the county. So again, if you just keep an open mind and conversation, I'd be willing to entertain any kind of conversations you have as far as what we need to do or what may or may not affect my office moving forward. So as far as personnel, again, if I add another attorney, I'd like to add a support staff person to that. It just helps balance out the caseload and the workload, frankly, for what I do have.
Okay.
Right now, everything's going well though. So I mean, we're fully staffed, we're running at full capacity, and I've got my student intern back for the summer. So that definitely helps add a layer of extra hands, if you will, on being able to do that. Space and accommodations, we've really been talking about this over the last 6 months, or well, yeah, it's been 6 months, the last 6 months with this commission. We're in the right direction. I know I submitted a voucher for approval maybe 2 weeks ago now. And so that's supposed to be going. I know Mr. Deem checked in with me last week. He hadn't received it yet, but I just assume it's in transit at this point.
Yeah,
So, say what?
we have it.
It's not been sent out then, or
I think it has.
Okay.
I think it was just sent out.
like
Yeah, well, last time we paid last week, I think.
right?
Yeah.
So, like I said, I told him, he's been checking in with me to make sure we're still moving forward, and I told him checks in the mail for the fact that I've turned it in here and I figured it was going forward. So we're still moving forward with that. So I think that office space and accommodations will be taken care of hopefully over the course of the next year or so. Moving forward, again, it's a process and I understand that. So overall budget, you will see salaries. Again, I did not put in, just as requested, not put in a cost of living. I take my numbers from the numbers that I'm given from HR.
So in this case, I think Tiffany's the one that sent me the numbers. So I put that into its own salary worksheet. You will see, I believe I have it in here. Yep. You will see then it's probably about 5 pages in, 6 pages. Oh, no, it's more than that. There's an actual 2022 unadjusted salary. So there's an overview for everybody. You will see the line item under attorneys. I am requesting a $7,500 flex in that.
I always ask you this every year.
Right.
What is that?
That is appropriate budgeting. So in my opinion, this, if I have to replace an attorney, so if Tony Cruz decides, hey, I'm out, I'm gonna go be a judge. We'll have a judge opening this summer. If he says I'm out and it's gonna cost me $140,000 to bring somebody in to replace him, I've got money in my budget to be able to afford him without having to cut somewhere else. So to me, I think any of these should have somewhat, like with salaries especially, I call it that, a flex for staffing changes. So if I have if one of my secretaries decides to retire and I find somebody with more experience and I need to be able to pay them to be competitive, then I have room in my budget and I don't have to rob Peter to pay Paul. So that's why, to me, in a budget where my salaries are $883,000, 7,500 is very conservative, frankly,
Because-
for that.
Because in the past, if you wanted to make a change with HR's help and you send a memo over here, it always says, I have money in
Correct.
budget.
Correct. And that's why, so that's why I put this line up. I don't know if you want me to title it something different,
No.
I can title it, but that's what it is. Yeah. I guess, and I don't know how this commission moves forward. Basically, I asked previously with HR, why do I have to go to the commission to adjust pay? Because it's my budget, it's my employees. And he always said that basically for him to have approval to change the numbers in HR because they don't work for me, they have to have the commission's approval to make that adjustment. It's never been challenged. I've always kind of gone with the flow with it. There were I've had a couple denials over the course of the last year. Again, not this present commission, but so again, I still work within the confines. If that's the process, then I will go through the process to advocate for my employees. I will personally come down from this point forward, though.
Have you talked?
I have not had, no, not since we've had a change. So I will address that. Again, if we need to have a pay change, I'll address that with her. Absolutely. I've had an opportunity to meet with her, so I don't have any problem with that. It was just what I was told, how we do things, if that makes sense. So,
Well, if it's in your budget, if it's already budgeted,
Correct.
it's not gonna affect.
correct, it should make no difference.
Yeah, it should not.
It's more of a, well, it should be more of a courtesy.
Correct, absolutely.
Well, I mean,
But she's the only one I've ever seen in the minutes that's been turned down.
So, but again, that's past practice. We're moving forward. That's the whole point of that line item number in there. Like I said, it's probably on the side of conservative, but I understand the budget that the county has to work with. So at least it gives me a little flexibility. If I'm able to bring in and find somebody with more experience, then I know I have a little room in here, or to compensate. If somebody takes on additional roles or responsibilities, then I have a little bit here that we can use for compensation, and I don't have to go cut from supplies or cut from other areas to try to compensate for that.
If I can interject, because Krista may not know this either, any salary changes that happen also impact our employee benefit fund. And there's nothing in this budget that helps employee benefits. And so that's another reason why things need to go through HR. I mean, that's kind of also why some of that got established. So it goes through HR. So it's coming into you. It was John's job. It should be Krista's job, that they're kind of looking at these salary numbers if people do things mid-year to make sure that the employee benefit fund can also accommodate those salary
Well, and that's
increases
what
that
I guess
people are asking for. So I think it's kind of dual things, because you three are the ones that control the employee benefit fund. I don't, HR doesn't, no individual departments, it's yours. So I think that's also partly why we need to have things come into here so that you're
Yeah,
aware
because
that
I'd like
things are
to
gonna
see that,
impact
because just like when they hired the 4 deputies last year, nobody got any salaries, or tell us how much it was gonna affect any budget. And, and I think that those are numbers we need to do before we go ahead and let somebody just hire 4 people off the street. And, because it not only affects their budget, it affects the benefit budget.
And I don't specifically know what John went through. I just know that if somebody came in and needed a salary increase, he's taking a look at employee benefits to make sure that he felt that it could accommodate whatever changes people were making.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Crystal will do the same thing, but.
Right, when I say it fits my budget, that it fits the four corners of what my finances are approved for.
Yes.
I cannot speak for, the employee side of it, which is again, I have no problem taking the to HR and saying, hey, are we good here? This is what I want to do. Again, and like I said, in the course of my 4.5 years, there were just two. One was postponed for more information and one was denied. So, but again, like I said, there were those adjustments that was the only times. Any other time that I've had that come through here, it's been no problem. So, like I said, that explains the flex. Everything else, they said, those numbers come from HR directly. And then again, put them in just a standard Excel formula for that. As it relates across the rest of the board for finances, I'm not asking for any additional increases. I think I've worked well within my budget. I would ask that the commission not cut my budget because I've been under my numbers. And I can just, and you are all well aware, one big case can blow my budget out of the water for a year. So we try to be conservative in our spending, spend where appropriate, make sure that the attorneys and the staff have everything they need to do their job successfully. Make sure that we're frankly in sync with the court and being able to handle the technology back and forth. But like I said, I think we've worked out well with staying within our budget. There are some things you'll start to see the shift, like the IT services. Obviously, last year we went into contract with Next Tech for all of our technology side of things. So that's why you're going to see a big difference between 2020 actual and 2022. That's because I was a half a year on that contract.
And that's working well, right?
I'm sorry, yeah, that's fantastic. Fantastic. I couldn't ask for a better group of IT. So Trent obviously is our primary assigned person, goes above and beyond to help us out, make sure we're running in service. So witness fees and travel expenses, as we're opening up with more trials and stuff, that's why there's a difference in that line item there. Because for 2020, we didn't have any, I think we maybe had 1 or 2 jury trials max, and that was before COVID. So I just anticipate, based on jury trials, the number of people traveling, bringing in hotels and that, we're gonna have increased expenses as we go through.
Why would dues and membership go up?
Because dues and memberships, because we haven't always paid. We haven't always paid for the attorneys. I don't know how that's been or why some people would pay out of pocket and it got reimbursed differently. And part of that's line items. So I'm gonna guess because I was looking at that as well. See, your credit card purchases were like 7,900. That includes, so credit card, it's not broken down when I have to line item it. So that will include if I pay my bar due, like my attorney licensing dues, if I pay that with a credit card, or if we order stuff, any supplies, like if we order supplies, it's not directly from a company, and we use the office credit card, then those things go into the credit card. So my guess is the dues and membership for 2020 actual, it should have probably been in the realm, each attorney's was $100 registration plus $50 for continuing ed, and I have 5 attorneys. So there's that off the top of it. Then there's KCDAA, Kansas County and District Attorney Association. There's those annual dues as well per attorney. And so basically the 2,000, and I have like the National District Attorneys Association dues as well for myself. So I think frankly, the actual out of that was just because that was what was able to be seen by line item expense by going off the expense report. Versus what we actually paid for dues and memberships. Now Kansas has adjusted their attorney registration. So instead of a CLE or continuing education check and then a registration check, they've lumped that into one fee. So what they'll see here on the vouchers coming through for the month of June is you'll see 5 attorney registration fees and it's $200 an attorney. And so that'll be that. And then our annual county district attorneys dues, I want to say are $100 an attorney. And then the county has the local bar fee, law library fee, which is $50 an attorney. And so I cover all of those for my attorneys, basically to be able to practice law and stay in there. That's one of the parts of their employment, if you will. I did, so building maintenance and rent, I adjusted to 0 based on the end of the year's transition with us, my office paying rent and not paying rent now. Then one of the adjustments up you'll see is office traveling and training. But because again, our conferences are opening back up. We're still for June, we're still online for conferences. But potentially October, it'll be open to traveling again. And our year for education credits starts July 1. So our years for our benefits or for our benefits, for our CLEs is split with the financial year, if that makes sense. So we have 2 prosecutor conferences, October and June. And so, so we would hit like one would be in on the 2020 budget, one would be in your 2022.
Okay.
And again, we may not use all of that because I also have the training fund. So I can pay for training out of the training fund. So I just kind of look at where we're at overall to see if we need to adjust. And then some of the things too, you'll see bounce between contractual services and the commodities. Some things kind of double, it just kind of is on how things, and I will be interested to see how that changes line item wise now that we've gone into different vouchers for 2021. Because like half of my credit card not half, probably 2 months of my credit card purchases rolled out of commodities, while then the rest of the year rolled out of contractual. So that's why you're gonna see kind of a double entry between the 2 of them on there. And I don't itemize from what I see I take our end of year itemized thing and go and make my own spreadsheets. So I don't know exactly which vendors those were paid to. So that's why it's not broken down more other than just credit card purchases. But a lot of those commodities is again on discs, Blu-rays and discs. I can tell you, I am in the middle. I will have a second follow-up conference webinar tomorrow on trying to get my office into a fully digitized discovery process. So where we're not burning out discs. So hopefully I can get rid of these, some of these expenses, overall expenses on the CDs and Blu-rays that we have to burn out as discovery, because I'm trying to get us to a completely electronic format. But that subscription will have a cost. Obviously there's a trade in there. So I am looking into trying to, like I said, less paper, more online usage.
So how does that jive with the, court?
Clerk has nothing to do with that. From the discovery side, that would be law enforcement. So I actually have to back up the other way. So that once I have this webinar tomorrow and see what they can offer, this portal is basically from the point of law enforcement through defense counsel. And so if I think it's something feasible for my office, then I would then have to take it to the 2 chiefs of police and the sheriff and say, hey, look, this is a program I think would be very useful for us. It's all electronic. You guys wouldn't have to send over paper. You could again, I have to know logistically more how it's going to work before I can go to them and say, hey, would you be interested in being a part of this? At least because, and not necessarily from a financial point, but from a personnel point instead of,
So I'm
Well, and
confused
also-
that with Odyssey and,
that doesn't impact.
I know, I'm confused in that part.
Oh, you're confusing it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Odyssey is the court
and
program.
What was the other one? Desktop name.
Ours is prosecutor, full case and full court.
That's it.
Mhm. Yeah.
I was confused.
Yeah. No, this has nothing to do with that software.
Okay.
It would be like, body cam videos and that
Correct.
kind of stuff.
This would be like the
Coming from law
paperwork.
enforcement To,
The case
defense
paperwork
attorney.
versus the
Yeah.
filing paperwork.
Or the discs or.
Correct.
So you can save on time and personnel if you get
Not personnel, because somebody else will have to monitor it. There's a lot of drag and drop and oversight. I would not be able to alleviate a position, but I would probably be able to alleviate the need for a second discovery clerk, which is where I'm at right now.
okay.
and Krista, have you ever told, I don't know if they've ever told, like, compared, we don't have any more crime than Manhattan, but Riley County has way more prosecutor.
On average, Riley County files 700 to 800 criminal cases a year, and they have 7 prosecutors in their office. We file on average 1,000 to 1,200 criminal cases with, well, technically 4, because I have Michelle Brown assigned to other stuff within the office. So technically with 4 criminal prosecutors.
They
So.
do way more as far as filing cases, and as a detective, I appreciated that, because talking to Riley County detectives who do not have a good working relationship with their county attorney's office, the county attorney's office picks and chooses, you know, what case they want. It doesn't matter how long that officer has spent on that case, and they decide whether they're gonna file it or not. Whereas, you know, the county attorney here trusts the detectives and the officers to make probable cause arrests, and don't require that they get a warrant on major cases. And so I think the relationship is good because of the, you know, if you would, it would take a lot out of you to put in so much hours on a case and then them just say, well, we're not gonna do anything. We don't feel that it's a viable case.
Do you guys have any questions for me? I know it's kind of really quick. I did include the balances of some external accounts, the prosecutor training fund. I mean, not external, that is held within the county. So the prosecutor training fund, so a percent of fees from cases are deposited into that. And that's all set, determined percentages through the treasurer's office and through, I would assume you guys have some part with that. You just get the check. So it goes through the treasurer's office on the percentage, and I sign contracts with the state every year on how that goes. There's certain things I can't spend that money on, but again, it's really set up for training. And then a portion of that money also goes for scholarships into the state and things like that. State asset forfeiture account balance as of April 30, you guys are familiar with that. That's my office's state account, not to be confused with the sheriff's department. He has his own. And then our federal asset forfeiture, that is an external account. But we worked, so December into January of this year, I know the auditors with Varney's once, at least, and I would assume that they've talked to Teresa, you or Rebecca about this. Basically, for the county, it is an external account, but they want, for auditing purposes, at least how it was explained to me, they want a way to track it internally. So my suggestion was if it was some way for the clerk's office to create what I call a mock account or dummy account, I would be happy to forward over the monthly bank statements from that account so that they can have an accounting for that external account. So I don't know if they made it that far with you guys. That was with Eric before he
I don't know
Oh,
if it goes to the treasurer, because the treasurer's the one
Or the
that needs to know
treasurer,
how much
okay.
is in there.
Yeah, because they've got a pledge.
Well, so however, whatever, if the time comes with the auditors, I am on board to give you whatever information they need. So commission, you guys have that as well. So if they sit down with you and say you guys need to track the county attorney's federal forfeiture budget or account, whatever you guys, just tell me who and when to send it to. I have sent now, poor Teresa got caught in the middle of this, but I have now sent the December or the 2020 bank statements no less than 3 or 4 times to Varney's, and I made that pretty abundantly clear in my last email back to them. So yeah, and again, not that I can't comply, but it's like, quit losing our stuff. Forward it on to the appropriate people.
Time
would April have the same philosophy?
About the treasurer has to pledge securities to keep all of our money safe in case there's any default. I mean, all the FDIC, she has to do that. She has to know how much money they have.
Mhm.
So April's philosophy is not going to be different about knowing how much
Then-
money there is. Now, April's philosophies and Eric's philosophies we have found are not necessarily the same about how you get to some of these
Right.
positions. So I don't know. April hasn't had any discussions with